Just realized I was double muted. All right. Well, you're going to... I was like, well, I hit it on this here, so I could just keep on going like that. All right, let's just pretend that was all. Boo. Welcome, Misfits, to Impromptu Debate You, Season 1, Episode 5, the episode where I no longer mime. But the topics have yet to come, because we are heading over to the Politics and Religion Discord server to see if we can have some counter-apologetic fun, or who knows, theology, science. How long is the girl deck? Won't you come join us for an impromptu good time? It's like a USB. You have to turn it in and out, and then sometimes in again. It's the only way it works. But yes, so welcome everyone joining us out there on the intertubes. I hope you're having a good day, eating a sandwich, or who knows, painting, being in sweatpants or leggings, whatever it is. We hope you're having a good time. And please don't forget to like, because that tells the algorithm, like, hey, this is some good content that we should send to others. Follow on Twitch. We just hit 100 last night. Woohoo! Boom, 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 boom. Thank you so much. I think Stilett was 99, and I think Off the Cuff. Hey, I'm trying to remember. Something Atheist. He was I was just talking to him this morning, I think. Sending love. We now have our 100 on the Twitchosphere. Eventually, we're going to try and get that chat to grow, because we have a lovely YouTube community. That's right. What is up, the YouTubes out there? Feel free to subscribe if you like, though that just tells YouTube that you kind of just want it added. You really want to have it set to that all button, that little bell icon. And you have to click it and set it to all, because that tells YouTube, like, hey, I actually want to see this on my front page, and not just like make sure that my cousin knows that I've been watching his vacation photos. No, really. Minute time lapses of you having a good time are amazing. Anyway, sending love. We are a skeptic channel, including the hosts you see before you, myself, and James W., who just got out of the ring last night from Standing for Truth. And he hosted a lovely debate against James W. and Jamie. I lovingly call Circuit City. We did an episode review of him saying the fossil record is nonsense, which turned out to be nonsense. But we love our creationists, our younger. Yes, you also want to join our live stream so I can say hey to you. Like, what is up, Khaleesi? Hello, love. What is up, nerdy rodent? Ain't wearing no sweatpants. Oh, you ain't wearing no pants. Well, you could join the Pantsless Apologist. There is a very select group of theologians that I keep under my desk, working 24/7 around the clock, and that is Gavin. He used to be partnered up with Praise, but I think Praise went with, two lovely ladies instead. And so Gavin now sits down here working his mouth. And then Iron, who also had a lovely debate without pants, as you sometimes do. And so now they very much work a different girl deck down below. Anyway, sending love to everyone out there. Sending love to Aubrey. Sending love to James Wolfe. Pantsless anti-potion brigade. Yes. This is a very specific form of apologetics, different from peace. I was going to say presuppositionalists. I guess that's different too. From presuppositionalists and fundies, this is very much the works-based faith where you are almost always on your knees. Sending love to Spooky. Sending love to Spooky Vet Hair and Jake 4D and Garu Lady and everybody out there. Logan, I Draw Stuff, Stephanie Fisher. I will keep on sending love to everybody as they send love to me. And if you would like to, once we get into the heat of the debate, I will also go out of my way. Also tag me if you can at Amy Newman. But then super chats, always welcome. And I will make sure that I read them out and sometimes act a little bit silly with them because that's what we're here for. And okay, I'm going to do very quick shout outs, I think. And then we're going to head over to the politics and religion server. I think I'm going to start mixing it up because I am community members, whatever you want to call it, politics and the politics and religion server. And so, I go in there fortnights with Randolph, and it says I'm a mod as an atheist mod. Been trying to find the atheist server on there, but I also like to go to the counter-apologetics server. Xerxes is over there sometimes. Who knows who we'll find. And sending love to everyone out there in the interwebs. First of all, we had a really interesting, fantastic back and forth. Whole bunch of amazing people on last night. Atheist Jr., Mark Reid, we had Pieter, we had so many amazing people. We had a whole bunch of creationists and theists on there. It was almost at one point a 50-50, which is why I like kind of going into the den. I kind of like going to people that disagree with us, including amazing people that support this channel, like Chris Disciple, who is a theist, a Christian, though he is a skeptic. And you can be a skeptic as long as you have a little bit of doubt about your belief system. You're trying to get a good epistemological toolkit. And sending love to Dale Pastel. We're looking for a little bit of empirical evidence. It's nice if you want to criticize the empirical evidence that we already have for hundreds of years, but you also need to present your own. Sending love to Dale Pastel. Sending love to James Wolfe as we howl at the... Okay, hold on. My skin actually melts if it the natural rays hit my skin, and so I just want to make sure. Thank you so much, James Wolfe. Sending love to you. Sending love to the one and only Roshelle. Boom. Sending so much love, reminding us that biblical slavery is a little bit messed up. We're not blaming the people who lived 2,000, 3.5 thousand years ago, or I guess 1,600, all the Abrahamics. We're blaming the people who defend it now. We get it. They were looking up at the sky and praying for rain. That was their weather cycle, the water cycle. We're blaming you now because we have an education system with chain smoking teachers. Please just look up. I get it. I know you're like this, and I love it. This is what I'm doing at home too. But please, do you see the science? Please, I know you're gonna go home and they're just gonna scream at the dinner table that God wants you to not believe in science. Okay, that's okay. Had to pay for these textbooks myself, but hey, that's fine. Anyway, sending love to James and Chris and Dale and Rachel, and sending love to davegar, reminding us that the world is in fact round. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and the people who have this sort of epistemology, I'm sure there are many that are not like this, but to me, it comes off narcissistic. It comes off as if I am the best arbiter of knowledge. And I feel and I think the older I get, the more I realize how much I want to reach out to people who have more expertise than my own. In fact, that is the wisdom, is that there are people smarter than you in other fields, and that you can't go out and do everything yourself. I mean, you can't even do that. If someone were like to God forbid do a crime to your family, you want an investigator. You don't want you. Like, it doesn't even have to go that far out of the realm of of any natural day event. I don't know. Send in love. It is just all about, you have to trust your own information. And all these people often are the profit-faring Abrahamic religion, who, gosh forbid, they definitely weren't there back then, let me tell you. But no, there were 500 people. Really? Can you name one? The apostles. Okay, but that's like, you named a main character, but we want to know like the extras. You said there were 500 extras that saw the event. Yeah, get the I-9 forms out. That'll help. Anyway, sending love to davegar and sending love to Senator Cato, reminding us of the separation of church and state, because it's not going to be your religion. Not only is it not going to be your religion, chances are it's not going to be your denomination. You know, you're the Second Baptist Church, and the First Baptist Church gains control. The war is on. Or we could just be secular. Could just do that. Anyway, we're moving on to the 3 commanders of the girl deck who really go out of their way and send a lot of love. And then we are going to go on to the Discords. Anyone can join us on the Discords. It's impromptu debate you, but it could be impromptu debate me. We, I think, intimidated them last time. The first few episodes were just waves of you're not a, and it's like, yeah, I get it, the girl deck. Okay, but like theology, a little bit of God, no? Like the guy who's watching us 24/7, 365. But we could talk about my junk. No, that's cool. That's cool. Anyway, and that's what happened. But then there was a whole bunch of skeptics last time, and the only people that joined were 2 definitely in the closet people, and only 1 out of the 2 spoke. And so I don't know, maybe they just get afraid. I like going into the den. Please tell me where my epistemological toolkit is making me go wrong. I want to know the ontology of your God. Why does he exist? And I say he, it has to be a he, because they get triggered. They get very postmodern themselves. It's so funny. They like talking about how much we shouldn't use pronouns until has to be a guy. It says father, ladies and gentlemen. It says father. It should say daddy. God lifts. Oh my. But yeah, sending love. I could do this. This got Captain Shield. I can do this all day. Anyway, sending love to Reid. We have a skeptic Bible study. It's true. And we don't skip any of the parts. We don't do the greatest hits. I mean, we do as soon as we go through them and it comes into their time slot, which made the Moses story really awkward. Really, really awkward. Because I get the feeling that most of the Bible studies, they just read like a few passages, but oh my God, this man's heart, this Pharaoh, this king, I guess, if you're a Muslim, he was so stoned that I am so surprised he was not shitting golems. Like, my gosh, one time. And that's what they do. That's the other apologetic, is they're like, well, God just broke his free will once and hardened his heart. Come on, we all get a freebies. Who wasn't God? It's his first universe. Come on. No, it was actually 1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4 potato, 5. 5 times he hardened the Pharaoh's heart. Jesus H. Christ. I'm sure there's free will in there. We just got to find it. Yeah, I don't see no free will. But it's okay. I'm sure it was a happy ending for the guy who lost his free will. Oh, his firstborn what? Really? And then he drowned? Oh, but he's the good guy. The good guy. Right. They had it coming. They had it coming. They only had themselves to get their hearts frozen and die. Anyway, sending love to Regos. The story disturbed me. There are a few things. The guy who picked up sticks. How do you defend that? And you don't even practice the Sabbath anymore. How do you defend that passage? You pick up sticks on Saturday. What did you want God to harden? Oh, I'll tell you. A lot. Sending love. What is up, Jordan Allen? What is up, Caterpillar? I'm sending to everyone lots of so much love. Unlike the omnibenevolent, I have a word I've also been thinking about lately. I wonder if anyone else. What is up, Brian Stevens? Which is omnibenevolent. A God that their evil can know no bounds. It's an interesting concept I've been thinking about that I don't hear many theists push forward. I've only heard like one or two. I've actually heard one put forward. Yes, omnibenevolent. It would be kind of the counter to omnibenevolent. In they are all evil, maximally evil. Because that seems to be, I don't know, if we peel open the good book, I feel like that's a marketing term. It's good. It has 50% less drowning. I was on a diet too. That's fantastic. And you don't want to drown people like really late at night before you go to bed. You drown people early in the morning, and so it just works its way throughout the day. I've had it somewhere. Anyway, sending so much love to Regis. Sending love to Deig. That's right. We have theories. That word triggers them because in the lay or the normie, whatever words you would like to use in your age range, when you say that's just a theory, all right, okay. But when you get into a actual scientific discussion, that's just a theory means that's just a framework of facts. And so to say that's just a hypothesis is a guess. Hopefully it's an educated guess and not just something you pulled from your... Sending so much love, Matt Deig. So much love. Thank you for all the support. And last but not least, sending love to Ian Davenport. He has said so much love to us. I see him all out there. And he reminds us that watchmaker arguments are really bad. We are naturally forming. We are the only thing that we know of. They're obsessed with sex. And then when we point out, and they ask that question, one of the most asked questions I think that we get is, where do we come from? And consistently, when we're like the birds and the bees, they are taken by surprise or like a mock faux pay anger. Oh, how dare you! Don't talk about the sexes. You make me sweat. Oh, really? Can I ask where that family came from? Did it get poofed into existence? I'm fairly sure it didn't come from a watch. Did you just watch someone? That's a different kind of kink. But don't think that's where people come from. And then we have to go all the way back to the Big Bang every time. Because it is a consistent... Why? All right, Billy, tie your shoes. We'll go get ice cream, and I'll answer why if you... Jesus. Yes, we can go all the way back. You know who can't go all the way back? Except for, like, the 6,006 days and 600-year-old men? I'll give you a hint. Well, definitely said a thing. Thank you so much, love, Ian Davenport. I think that's about as much squeezing as I can. What is up, Michael Smith and everyone? Yeah, so our supporters include the people who give us super chats. our channel memberships, who you can join below with our evolving badge system. Not just colors, our badges evolve. And speaking of evolving, my last tangent. They really want Pokemon evolution. I swear. I have two fallacies that I feel like I should just push forward. And that is argument a la Pokemon. And that is expecting that a organism is going to just go whoop, 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 woo, and grow bigger after flashing. That is not what happens. That happens if you have a Game Boy. I'm now dating myself. That is also another argument, is the argument a la we went to the moon. Have you seen us? And I should just be happy they believe we went to the moon. But how could we be another ape? We went to the moon. I get you. We did go to the moon. Cool. But like, you see like Fred over there picking his nose. It's kind of like a perspective kind of thing. And so, yes, it is amazing. We're amazing. But stop shitting all over other animals just because some humans did great things. Anyway, sending love to the girl deck, Ian, Matt Deig, and Regos, as well as the lieutenants of the girl deck, the 2 out of 3. And with that, I think we're going to head over there. Evolution isn't like Pokemon. Exactly. I really do. The other way is they expect one animal to give birth to a completely different other animal, which is also not what evolution states. They are all straw men. It is that slight changes over populations of time will accumulate up to a big change. And so if you were to look at all the way over at R, and we had started at A, it looks vastly different. But A and B don't look so different. They only share a little bit of genetic variety. And okay, I'm hoping we get something. Get something. We will see. What is up, Mighty Sarlacc? What is up, everyone? Keep on saying hi, but I think we are going to set up now. Also, check out that debate. I'll keep on saying that James W. had. I'm also going to send a love letter to them and say, hey, I'm going into VC if you'd like to join us. All right. Let us share screen and the audio, and oh my. Oh, let me make sure. Do. Fantastic. We should be able to hear if anyone comes in. And now we play the waiting game. However, I am also going to invite people. Let's do. And there you go, ladies and gents. We're also going to send the politics and religion. I have live streaming in my tag. I always feel I don't want anybody to feel like they are being recorded against their will. Sometimes it takes people a little bit to realize I have that in my name, but that's the best I can do right now. A lot of their chat may be TOS breaking, so I may just end up going into the counter apologetics chat. I'm going to send love to you all while I'm here. So we are impromptu debating you, and we're having fun in the sun. George Carlin used to say that he would at least not pray to the sun, but he would at least accept the sun as his higher power because he can see it. That is kind of something big in his book. However, he wouldn't pray to the sun. He says that feels like that would be, kind of ruining the friendship. And so instead he prays to Joe Pesci. And he says consistently that his prayers get answered by Joe Pesci at about the same 50-50 rate that he used to pray to God. And that's right. I am almost in a debate. We are setting up an impromptu debate you. We're just looking for fun in the VCs of politics and religion. I could always end up going to another channel if no one shows. I always feel like that's sometimes stepping into, I don't want to ruin someone's conversation or impose myself. I like it when people come to me, but may have to do what you gotta do. Pissed off at mainstream religion. I dislike a lot of the mainstream religions. My mother would not like me using the word hate, because she says you shouldn't hate anybody, and so I've kind of taken that to heart. But I am not a fan of the Abrahamic religions. That much is definitely true. I think that they are outdated. I think that they come with a lot of baggage. And once again, not to be, it always comes biased when I say it, but there's more than just this. I think a lot of the LGBTQ hate comes from religion. Now, I think it also makes people tribalistic, misogynistic. I don't want to go feminista. You don't have to go that far. It's not about, rah-rah. I mean, the Bible really is triggered by, they put women second consistently and don't seem to want them in positions of leadership. But I love you, Michael Smith. I mean, we have many fantastic pagans that come on here. We have many fantastic, people who don't believe in the mainstream religion. People seem to pick the side of the war of, are you going to be team accepting scientist or team not accepting scientist? That's really what it all boils down to. If you think about the flat earth debate, it's about accepting your view that you think you have tested and gathered evidence that's convincing against mainstream scientists. When you think about young earth, it is about, you think that you have, through experience, and I really am trying to steal, man. You believe through your own testing, I'm skeptical of the testing, but through your own means that you have become convinced, and we're not. We're convinced that the modern mainstream academia actually gets a lot of things right, and that it's less political than they actually want to make it out to be. That when you go into a lot of these classrooms, it actually has very rigorous standards by what they can and cannot teach. And that most teachers are trying their hardest to just convey information and not sound technical, which is what I find is the exact opposite job of the creationist. I find that their whole methodology is they want to go into a debate and they just want to prove that they understand science, which is like a very weird goal. Most scientists want to convey whatever information they have learned in their field into as simple as possible for the lay audience to understand. It's two opposite goals. Would you have a discussion with Adam Green on stream? Absolutely. I will have a discussion with almost anyone. Some people, I think, get surprised when I yell or scream. I do have my limits, and ask my partner. She'll say, "Oh, this bee can go off," and so I don't want to pretend like I am a saint, like metaphorically even. I do think I have a decent amount of patience, and I would say the subjects that anger me are not the subjects that most people would think. I always get it's the normal what I would think, not a rare thing. I always get angry when people piss off my friends or go after my friends, or I just realized I'm using the wrong do. That looks better. Gizmo's sitting back here and he's like, Amy, what the hell? Make sure that everything looks pretty. What is up? Praise I am that I mean, Big Bad Mama. Thank you. Welcome to the stream. Sending so much love. Wonder why I don't get it on more debates. Oh, I'm sending so much love. I do want to actually do more debates on Standing for Truth. Praises I am that I am. I love modding on Modern Day Debate. I may ask to go into the ring on some certain specific topics that I think, and so we'll see that. I want to go through the traditional pipeline like every other modern day debater, which just tends to be email. Anyone can send at moderndaydebate@gmail.com. James Coons is amazing. Sending love to the MDD community as well, because we love debates. Oh, I just realized, can you guys and lasses hear me? Okay. I just noticed you were here. I have to actually push to talk, to actually say. Okay, just making sure. But what's up? Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you. And that's okay. We may be able to get some people in. I was going to say bait, but I always feel bad when... Because there are a lot... The mods in there, they always go crazy. Well, not they go crazy. A lot of the people in the closet go crazy. And all the admins are like, just ignore her. And she'll go on. Oh my! But yes, I would agree. I sometimes it is almost I know that I go into chat sometimes. I'm just like, it's just a wonderful day, and they're just like, boom, 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 boom. You know. I'm going to make sure I'm sharing system audio. I now did share system audio. I wonder, can you all hear now? That is very odd. Because I have... Trying to troubleshoot, but it should have everything set. Try one more time. Try now. Let's see. Maybe I click something. We'll see if that happens. It's weird because I can hear you, but I guess we'll see if the chat says so. Aha, Michael Smith says he hears. Here we go. We got one vote. But now Claude says I only hear Amy as well. It's very weird. Well, I'm going to log out of... I'm going to be right back. Testing. I'm going to log off. I'm going to be right back 1 second. What's up, y'all? You're just going to hear me talk while I guess, reload this. Because Discord is having the funs. Hope you are all doing well. Now let's do. Always has to be something, but that's what keeps us on our toes. Control Alt Delete, have fun, restart. No apologist came in though. Just very decent. Ooh. Nor should you. Exactly. Let's see if we can go. Oh, da. La da 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 da. Give me 1 second. Lovely. Ness. Share the screen. It says share system audio. Try in again.
Okie doke.
So how has PNR been treating you?
Oh, wow. Okay, so yeah, I definitely am coming through the YouTubes now. Awesome.
All right.
PNR's been treating me badly.
Well,
it's mostly just one in particular person that I don't need to name, but it always comes back to the butt parasites.
Oh my goddess. Okay, that does narrow it down though. So Danielle's being mean to you. Oh, that's a shame.
No.
No. See, I'm now probing in a different way than butt parasites.
No, it's okay. It's just Frost. That's all.
Frost. Okay, that's another one.
Frost-a-roo.
Frost is in the. He's another one that I believe. Frost is another one.
A very silly Billy indeed.
That was saying.
My name is Rigger Destroyer, and I'm gonna lead Aqua.
There you go. And he's muted. Also, I like that his name is I Love Jesus. So he's racist. But I want to know. So his name is Acro. Wow, he is just loser in all of these. I wonder if he just goes in there. Oh, and now he's server muted. Do.
Yeah, that was pretty cringe.
It must suck knowing that your prophet was tan and that you worship a lovely Jewish man who probably spent a lot of time with a lot of guys.
A lot of guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be real, though. Some of these folks are probably just really jealous of Jesus's incredible tan.
I get the tall, dark, and handsome, right?
I mean, I'm not Christian, but wasn't Jesus described as pale-skinned in the Bible?
I don't know.
I know he wasn't white, but he was described as white in the Bible.
I would be highly surprised if that was true.
Akil, send me the
they
quote.
ever describe his
You have it.
visual appearance.
Akil, you have it. You have the quote. Send it to me. I'll read it out.
Like the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus?
No, he's not. That's not what I'm claiming. That's not what I'm
just
claiming.
light-skinned?
Yeah.
But it would also be highly surprising that a man in the desert would be light-skinned.
Not particularly. A lot of the Levantian peoples were conquered by Indo-European-related populations.
Okay, even at that time period, can you give me an example where they would have light skin? Like
Anatolian farmer admixture.
Okay, give me.
What are you talking about?
In Egypt, that's even easier.
Jack, what are you talking about?
I was just talking about how like some Levantian peoples had Anatolian farmer admixture, and then this person's saying that in Egypt there weren't any light-skinned people during.
Oh well, I mean Egypt was literally colonized by Yamnai people. Like
Ramesses II was literally like European. So.
Yeah, like ancient Egyptian pharaohs were literally like ginger and blonde, and they had like literally bleached white
sounds like
skin.
a conspiracy theory. I would need sources.
A conspiracy theory. They literally have R1B haplogroups. You retard. Right, yeah. Where else would they get that from?
Sure, then should be easy to find sources.
King Tut had an R1B haplogroup. You're a moron.
Okay,
it's one
these
Google
sound
search
like
away,
ad
Amy
hominems and not
That's
sources.
It's
one Google search away, Amy Truman.
That's not an ad hom.
Google
It's an
search
insult.
away.
It's
Go find it.
It's not an ad hom. It's an insult. I gave you a point and insulted you at the same time. My point wasn't the insult. You're an idiot.
Sure, I think that.
See how I just made a point that was like. See how I just explained to you my point and then I insulted you at the end, as in it's not an ad hom, retard.
Sure, I think that's a form of projection. I think you are acting like an idiot.
Wait! I got the perfect image, bro. Imagine being you, bro.
Do you have a rebuttal?
This is my rebuttal, bro. It's right by it.
Okay, but hey,
so you like go on a tangent about like projection and ad hom and shit, but it's still like avoiding the point that you're wrong about the Egyptians.
Yeah, no, just send the point. Just send the studies. I mean, or like just send the.
Exactly. If you just have a single source, it would, I guess, make
a source for what? A source for what?
Anti-science, I guess.
How's that anti? Okay. You as someone who agrees with authority, because you're like a tranny retard, right, would understand that everyone who is authority in this doctrine.
Can I ask, do you use the word retard as an insult because you're insecure about your own intelligence?
This has nothing to do with the debate, so rabbit trailing.
Sure, but I would like to know if he uses that as an insult because
we're not doing
make
this.
Actual syllogisms or intelligent points.
No, we aren't doing this. We're going to keep addressing the point that Ramesses II had European DNA and a
European group. Can you give a source that would say that there was an Egyptian king with, I guess, light-skinned and ginger hair?
Yeah.
Instead of just asserting it?
Yeah.
I guess that's a no?
Yes.
Well, we'll be waiting, or I'll be waiting.
Yeah, you can do that. Yes, you can wait.
Yes. Gingers was kings. Is that your argument? I get that from racists a lot, trying to make fun of like people in minorities. I guess you guys are doing that now?
Literally like the Queen of
because we was actually Kangs though. Yeah, we was actually Kangs though. We was actually Kangs. That's the thing.
Okay. We were also slaves.
Yeah, in the Barbary slave trade, yeah, but those aren't my ancestors though, so I don't care.
Literally considered barbarians. It's where the word comes from.
I don't care. That's because Romans were 5'2" seething retards who had their people colonized by the Celtic Chad.
5'2" seething is so true.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they were subhuman brownoids.
Okay, I mean, your opinions are degenerate, and I emphasize on opinion because you haven't given.
Right, let's talk about degeneracy when I've seen your front hole on Twitter, you disgusting retard.
Hot. Okay, that sounds kind of degenerate. I don't know what you're
Twitter, bro. That's pretty fucking degenerate. Like, what are you talking about?
Oh, did you have to search them out?
Someone else showed me.
Oh, really? Where'd they show them to you? Do you have them saved on your hard drive?
Hell no. The only things of you I have saved are the Wojaks I've been making. That's it.
Amy, you can look up was Ramesses II white. Like literally, the first result was yes. Dude, I got it wrong.
Just send it to him. Just send it to him. Literally, just send it to him.
Just send source.
I've also got a University College London study that says ancient Egyptians are more related to Europeans than modern day Egyptians, which I'll send to you as well, to do with the haplogroups and migration patterns.
Are you guys also like one of those people who don't think Jesus was a Jew? Are you that?
I think Jesus was a Jew. I'll state one more time that I'm not Christian. I'm polytheist.
Oh, that's...
No, Jesus was a little...
Wow, it took a while. Anyway, yeah, back to my initial point, because you were crying retard. Yeah, so the R1B haplogroup, which, by the way, is universally agreed on in this fucking doctrine to begin with, which is the authority on the matter, which you would agree with to begin with, right? If you knew anything about this doctrine at all,
Stop speaking over him, loser. Stop speaking over him. Yeah, you're a great one, dude.
If you can't make an argument without calling people retard, then take it somewhere else.
Yeah, it's totally against the set rules. Yeah, you're a great arguer. Yeah, great debate, bro.
Well, generally,
yeah, it's crazy that they keep muting me, right? Because I'm winning constantly, bro.
and
Once
they
again,
think of
if you were an
drones-
anthropologist and you knew anything about the doctrine, you would know pretty much everyone agrees King Tut had an R1b haplogroup, which comes from the Yamnaya culture, right? You even questioning this to begin with and pretending it's not universally agreed upon is proof that you don't know what you're talking about. You're a retard. Shut your mouth.
We're
Like,
saying that Jesus
clearly
was
European.
most likely tan, and that there
I
is
know he was,
not
that's
the
okay.
majority
You've
of
back-
scholarly
Okay,
Trail
he's
now.
done. He's done.
Back-
If you would like to
Backtrailed now.
show a source that says that he had light skin,
I mean,
Please
he's
present
done. I warned him to stop. You quit calling people retards just because they.
Quit being a retard then. Quit being
well, quit
a
being an,
retard and people
quit being an asshole. That's what I would say. It's generally speaking.
will stop
when you
treating
use
you like a
language
fucking
like-
retard.
I'm
You
not-
understand?
Well, no, Amy. If we're
You're
gonna
the
be
wrong
nice
guy,
to each
Devin.
other, we'll have to agree upon it consensually here, because you do tend to troll a lot when it comes to religious people, especially, and
I
you
do?
bait them heavily. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've seen you
disagree.
in chat. Like, oh, okay, whatever. Okay, doesn't
Okay.
matter.
I would say I give what I get, and so when people are nice to me, I'm nice back, and when people are mean to me, I'm playfully mean back.
She probably trolls
You wanna get
Christians.
get
and
playful
I
with
do
me?
too.
Sure.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
she-
wanna get
yeah,
playful
let's
with me
call
if I were
it
you.
for the sake of the
Why?
argument,
I'm in it for the
Get
long
playful.
game.
Amy
I'm in it for-
Newman,
I'm in
get
it for the
playful
long
with
game,
me,
that's
Amy
why.
Newman.
Maybe I would hate to be your partner then. I know you're
I
gonna
would
say I
too.
never. What?
Oh, you wouldn't. Oh, you wouldn't.
I feel like you're insulting yourself. I don't understand why you're doing this. Okay, whatever.
Yo, I'll
It's just
kill.
so weird.
Yeah,
I'll
what's
send him
yeah,
love.
what's up?
Send the Bible quote, dude.
Oh, the Bible friend? Yeah.
Yeah. The light skinned Jesus.
Bark, heal. This is too much information to look at, dude.
I'll just put
Average
that one.
medcuck can't process more than one picture. at
I'm
once.
not Mediterranean. I'm Dutch, bro.
Not that Jesus is gonna call it matters, but he was definitely a lighter skinned Levantian Jew. If that's a fact. Dude.
Yeah, for sure. I could agree with that.
Definitely. Some people said so at the end of the bar.
Hey, Amy, have
bar?
you ever seen Levantian peoples? Have you ever seen the Iraqi?
I'm
president?
Ashkenazi. Both my parents are Ashkenazi.
Yeah, your kind doesn't exist until like 1,000 years ago,
My
but that's what I was
God.
referring to.
Yeah, they're
Once
not.
again,
They are
back
not.
to
The
the
Ashkenazi
conspiracy.
aren't native. Well, no. The
What are
Ashkenazi are not
surprises?
native to the Levantian people, and the Khazars aren't Jews either.
Anyways,
Sure, no
Iraq-
one believes that in any academic field, but you're welcome to believe that in your heart.
Look at this guy streaming. This is a perfect example, right? You look at the Iraqi president, Hamas Gaza Strip leader, like the Lebanon president, Syrian PPM and his wife, the Queen of Jordan, bro. Never seen a Levantian person before, ever.
Yeah. The people in the desert, they're known for being light skinned. Highly known for it.
Dude, it's literally on this guy's camera. These people like live in the desert.
He's not making the claim that the natives all have pale skin.
No, you're making the
Said
claim
he
that
was-
Jesus had pale skin, and there's no one in the
Because it
academic
says so in the Bible.
field
I
believes
don't
it
care
says
what
so in
these,
the
like, I don't
Bible.
care what these like atheist Jews.
I'd like to see
Yeah,
that
I
quote
don't-
from the Bible.
Oh, I'm waiting on Arkeel. He
This
has
is
the
what
Bible.
Christ, this
I
is
don't
what
read the
Christ
Bible.
looked like, anyways. But I will find
He's
this.
got stank
Also,
eye.
I would
Send the
also
fucking
like.
Bible quote.
That's not, I'll explain it to you later.
Oh yeah, Michelangelo's 15th
This is
century.
way before-
Yeah, that's Michelangelo.
retard?
I'll
right
be
It's
there.
right back. I'm
century.
just going to read a super chat. Thank you so very much, the Sinister Porpoise. $5 after the second use of the art word. I'd be sending him on an all-expense paid trip to the principal's office. Once again, I find people who use that as an insult, just like people who use the word autist as an insult, have the qualities that they're trying to make fun of. Because let me tell you, many lovely people who are neurodivergent. And so once again, they are basically insulting themselves, and they do themselves. They get really heated when they say these words too. But yes, thank you so much to Sinister Porpoise with a $5 super chat. Sending that love right back. You are amazing. When you think of Sinister Porpoise, think of Sinister Porpoise. And all right, we're going right back in.
Who, dude? We're literally
Yeah, you are like 90 years old.
Smarter than to know that 600
Why
years
are you
removed.
calling people in? Yeah,
600
that's so
years
mean.
removed. 600 years removed is not an accurate portrait.
It is if traditions passed down, right? And we know what things were like, how things were done, and how people looked.
Oh, you mean the Roman tradition?
What are you talking about?
Indeed, Jordan. It's exactly
Is
like
the
Is
that.
the
Yeah,
Song of
icon.
Solomon about the is the Song of Solomon about
From like
Solomon?
like the Greeks and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, for example, just give me a second. What was I going to say? For example, we have icons of Apostle Paul from the 3rd century, right? And they look almost identical to the ones we have now. Tradition gets passed down, dude, and how things are supposed to be made.
Yeah. So you've cut the time from 600 years to 300. So you've cut it in half.
So,
That's still
Maddie.
300 years removed from any actual eyewitness account.
Are you like one of those like creeps that deny Christ like even existed as a person?
I'm not. That's not a hill I would die on. I don't think it matters.
Oh yeah, Lamentations 4:7. The Nazarites were purer than snow. They
I
were
was
whiter
muted.
than
I
milk.
said nobody
they were
came
more
back
ruddy
from
in
the
body
dead.
than rubies. Their
Sorry
blushing
about
was
that,
of
guys.
sapphire.
That's the claim. Now give us the evidence to support the claim.
Oh, he said
I
it.
don't believe Jesus existed. I don't believe Jesus existed. I'm just saying how the Bible described him, which is the source you would use if we're discussing Jesus.
You know, the Bible is the claim.
Yeah.
Not the source, not the evidence.
No.
You've got it backwards.
The claim I made was pre even reading.
No, the Bible
It was-
is the claim, not the evidence.
No. To deny the Bible as a source is just you saying that Jesus didn't exist, and that's fine. Just say
No, yes, we do. As a source, the Bible is the claim.
You retarded.
He just quoted the Bible. Lamentations 4:7 states that, dude. Like what he just said, like they were purer than snow.
Yeah, that's the claim. Now give us some corroborating evidence of the claim.
This is what the Bible says. It's what the Bible said, dude. It's a direct quote from the Bible.
That's the claim. Yes, that's the claim. Now, give
What
us
other
the
sources do we have
corroborating
Look
other
at
than
any
the Bible
Levantian
for
person.
Jesus?
That's my source. So literally look up the Queen of Jordan, dude. Iraqi president.
Do I have to open up Vaha Duo as well now? Like the
Oh, yeah. So, what? 2,000 years later, you think that's inaccurate? Okay.
because the Bible was written 2,000 years after.
Actually, I think it'd be a bit lighter, right? Because during the time of Christ, it was before
Bible was
the
written in
Islamic
Florida.
invasion.
Maybe you're not tracking Hypes. I think what he said was just look at the current day so and so.
Noah's camera.
I mean, it's true.
Who was it you just said, Arkiel? Who did you just tell me to go look at?
Like I said, literally look up any Levantian person. Like, for example, look at the Iraqi president, Hamas Gaza Strip leader, Lebanon president.
So yeah, he's
Literally
appealing to
any.
modern day to support this.
Actually,
No,
the
the-
ancient Levantine people.
The
were
guy in
even
the Middle
lighter.
East.
And so,
The guy in the Middle East 2,000 years ago
and
looked
so, this is a quote mine.
Modern-
They are not calling Jesus white. He's in darkness with flames flickering on him, and his head and hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes were as flames of fire. That is not saying that he's
Different
light
quote.
skinned.
Who
Different
even
quote.
brought that up, Amy?
Yeah, I didn't bring that up once.
Who even brought that up?
The Bible.
No one.
Okay, why do you think?
There's nothing to do with anything.
You were using Lamentations. We
Yeah,
were using
Lamentations 4:7. Her Nazarites were purer than snow. They were whiter than milk. They were more ruddy in body than rubies. Their polishing was of sapphire. Wait, Jack, do you have that DNA website where we can look at the DNA?
Yeah, I'm gonna
That's
open
the
up
most
Vaha
said.
Duo right now. Yeah.
Yeah, so we can look up the
let's
DNAs
do
of
that.
ancient people, see what they look like.
I need to get my plotting the get my genetic plots from Thrax.
This looks awesome, bro. Can you just like? Is this the phenotype machine?
Yeah, you put in
Okay,
raw
check it.
DNA, right?
Uh,
So hang on, I've got Canaanite samples and Phoenician samples from Bronze Age, which would have been biblical times.
this would be like around 33 AD is what we want to look at. Are you able to like pick a specific date? 33 AD.
33 AD.
Yeah.
No, I can just put a bunch of samples. What do you actually want me to do
Galilean
here?
too. Don't forget he was a
do?
Galilean. So yeah.
What do you want me to do here?
So is your
Do you want me
mom.
Actually, no. Hang on. What I could do actually? Give me a sec.
Actually, wait, no. You know that Jesus image that I had? Like, it
I'm
just has like
source
actual
claiming
DNA?
all these guys. That's what I'm
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
here. Just
It
like
has,
with
Because I've got every type of race here. that I can just put in
presuppositionalists and
compare
all
them
of
to.
these
I'm sorry.
guys.
I must not have been paying attention. Somebody say
Probably
the
depends on who his
actual
real
DNA of
father was
Jesus.
too. Yeah, it
No,
probably
no.
depends on who his real father was, whether it was the Roman soldier Pantera or Joseph.
Oh,
or-
you meant the Jewish lie that's you know like the
Yeah,
Jewish
we
lie,
would-
right?
We would have to figure out who the father was because virgins can't give birth, and so yeah.
Yeah, they can actually.
Well, they can without
Are you
science.
Amy? Guys are just begging the question against Christianity.
and
Okay,
You're a
so
genetic
we know that
mutation.
the whole
You're a
virgin-
genetic
plus-
mutation.
Yeah, that's
plus
like
we know
just
the
begging the
virgin birth
question. You
narrative
realize
was based
that.
on a mistranslation of the
So,
Septuagint.
how did
so-
God impregnate a virgin again?
He committed adultery.
Yeah, well,
This
that
is
one.
a.
I guess. I mean, if it's God,
Yeah,
he
she
could just
was
specially
betrothed,
create.
by the way. Yeah.
If it's
She
God,
was
he could
betrothed.
just specially create
Technically-
Jesus in Mary's
Technically, according to
womb.
God's law,
Why am I
Mary
being
should have
taught?
been executed. I'm just pointing out, yeah, according to Hebrew law,
What?
This is the
since she got
genetic
knocked up
relation
by
between
somebody
a
that wasn't
Canaanite
her
from the
husband.
Bronze Age and a
Wasn't-
Levantian farmer.
Yeah,
The
that
pure
wasn't her
DNA
husband.
here.
She should have been. She should have
Yeah,
been.
but
stoned.
let's point out, according to you, if naturalism's true, then you are irrational because you have no justification for your beliefs because you just be
Why?
subjected to the laws of nature, and
Well,
you would
that's
have no
not true.
control over any of your mental states. So therefore, you wouldn't have
That's-
control over
well,
your
this is
beliefs
That
or
doesn't
your
follow.
justifications. Oh, well, yeah, it does.
Is this Clark?
No,
This sounds like
there's
Clark.
no
How would you have
supernatural
autonomy
evidence
of
for our
the
mental
mental
states
states?
that are
I'm
all
sorry.
natural.
If everything
Stop
is
being
subjected to
retarded.
the
Okay,
laws of
Jack.
nature, how would you have
Yeah, what's up?
autonomy of your mental states outside of the laws of nature?
So
Jack,
these,
explain this
these
to me.
guys,
Outside the
so
laws of
these
nature.
guys.
Okay, so
basically
they're completely
7.6%
subjected to the laws of
white, right?
nature.
Yeah.
So
These
yeah,
are
what I said
biblical,
does
biblical
follow.
Jews. So they
Okay,
have at
stop.
least like
Yeah,
around
Amy, you
10%.
just fold it in half like a cheap wand.
Sure, but there doesn't seem to be any supernatural or non-natural elements of consciousness or mental state. So if you have any evidence,
Oh well,
of
yeah,
that,
there
please
does
show.
seem to
Amy,
be
what
because
Amy, what he's
mental
really
states are not
arguing is
reducible to the brain because
consciousness
one is
is
can't have
propositional and one is
delusion,
not
Can't hear.
propositional. So
Everyone's
because
talking
you
over.
can't show entailment between the two, then you have to say there's an ontological distinction at least.
actually hypes what you're
Existence of what?
suggesting. Hypes.
Yeah,
what
you
you're
said it doesn't
suggesting-
seem like consciousness or mental states or anything other than like physical. And I'm saying, well, that's not the case because there's no
that's
entailment
true.
between mental states and the brain.
So
Because the
give
brain is
me
propositional and mental states are non-propositional. So if there's no logical entailment, then you can't establish ontological identity.
mental
So
states are
that's
not
just to say there's an
propositional.
ontological distinction.
Well, that's
Yeah,
not
mental
true.
states
You're
aren't
just saying
propositional.
You
that
being
everything could be
sad is a
determined.
fact if you are sad.
You didn't even listen to anything I said. God, you're
Well,
such a
you
slow
were
boy.
talking. Multiple people were
That's
talking. I
Clark.
was trying to listen. But if
No,
you
Yeah,
that's
all I
give me
said
an
is that there's
example
no
of
entailment.
non-natural mental
You know,
states
Brandon,
of
what-
consciousness,
I mean,
that's
Brandon,
what
it.
you
Yeah,
said just
all
wasn't
mental
true,
states
though.
are non-natural is the point.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
Would you
I
like
think
to
I
give a
muted you
source?
all.
Yeah,
of
all
that?
mental states are non-natural.
Why
That's
do you
the
believe
point.
that?
That's in
No, it's
virtue.
a stupid
Why?
statement.
Yeah, in virtue of when we hold them in a conceptual analysis, the brain and the mind, there's no logical entailment, so we can't establish ontological identity.
Okay, you're
So
saying
that's
they're
just-
not logical. I
not true.
completely disagree with that. And most
No, I
of them
never
are
said that. I
logical.
said there's no entailment between the two concepts when we hold them in a conceptual analysis because one is propositional and one is non-propositional.
This is Clark.
That-
He's
that's
known
the
for
point.
Philoso trolling.
But it's okay. I'm still waiting for a single non-natural element of conscious or mental
I
states.
just gave it to you. Oh my God, you're
I
slow.
must
I
have
just
missed
said
it.
It
mental
wasn't
states.
an
One that's
argument.
not
You
true,
didn't.
Clark.
Yeah, if mental states are non-propositional and there's no entailment between
They
mental
aren't.
states and the brain, then they're ontologically distinct. So the nature of all mental states would therefore be non-natural.
But they're not.
I don't know what you mean by ontological
One's an
exist. They
emergent
exist
property of
in
the
our
other.
brain.
Hey, Jack.
Oh my God, you're just repeating yourself over and over again. I gave you the
In
argument.
defense, that is what you seem to be doing. At least from my perspective as well. So
Can you repeat what I
Yeah,
said?
we're rejecting your premise.
yes, you are saying that mental states, because they are propositional, seem to have some ontological existence that is
No,
non-natural.
that's not. Again, yeah. So that's not what I said. So you just weren't listening, or it's
Okay,
going
that
over
is
your
what you
head.
said. Why don't you
No,
do
I
it
said that
again,
mental
then?
states. I said that mental states are non-propositional, but brain states are propositional.
I don't know. What's the difference between a mental state and a brain
Yeah,
state?
I would reject that premise.
When you hold these two in a conceptual analysis, you can divide them, at least conceptually, and hold the brain as a
Okay,
concept and the mind as a separate concept.
Yeah, but I
and that
personally
alone
don't
doesn't do
distinguish
enough.
the two.
Well, no, that alone doesn't do enough. That's of course not. But like, so we can at least establish that we can separate them in a conceptual way.
You
but the point is
imagined the
that
distinction.
the point is that the distinction comes when we show that there's no entailment between these two concepts. So we can't say that they're ontologically identical.
There is
Unlike Jada
entailment.
Pinkett
We can
Smith,
What's
who had an
we can see the
entanglement.
brain waves as people are thinking through scans.
Yeah, no, what I said works well with two-way causation. That still doesn't mean that there's an entailment. That's a category error. Because I'm talking about these things being ontologically distinct in a conceptual analysis.
Anyone needs to
You're
eat their
talking about a
salad
different form of
and
analysis.
dressing.
Correct.
So it's a category error.
Because a
Yeah,
conceptual
correct. So that's a
analysis, as
category
you
error.
yes, a conceptual analysis, as you are describing, is necessarily like just imagining that they're separate.
Okay, if it's necessarily
Getting
just
a phone
imagining
call,
that they're
give me 1 second,
separate,
probably
then that's a
spam.
necessary proposition. Can you give me the inference there? Can you give me the deductive argument?
What?
You just said it's necessarily this. Like, so can you give me the deductive argument?
Okay, throw the word necessarily out the window. When you're saying that they are distinct because you can imagine that they are distinct and that is your form of analysis, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Again, like this is probably the fifth year. That's not what I said. I said that they can be distinct conceptually, and that alone isn't enough. But in virtue of holding them in that distinction conceptually, if we can also show that there's no entailment between the two concepts, no logical entailment, then we can't say that they're ontological.
You can't show that.
I want
Yes,
tangible
you can.
entailment.
No,
A
you
demonstration of tangible entailment or lack of entailment would be reasonable evidence
What is
from my
wait? I'm
perspective.
sorry. What is tangible entailment?
Like, for example, monitoring the brainwaves and connecting them with the thoughts that people are having. That would be an entailment, which we do see demonstrated.
No, but what form of logical entailment
He's
is
talking
that?
about.
I don't
he's
care about
talking
logical entailment. I'm talking
he's-
about
Well, then
real life
probably-
in real life.
He's
Physical
talking
So
about
you
a
just
philosophical
use like see.
entailment.
I'm
This is
sorry.
a
Can you
this is a
put an
philosophy troll.
obses or whatever? Can you tell me what entailment is?
Not by your definition. No, I don't.
Like I'm just talking about logical entailment. What is that?
My understanding, and it is probably wrong, is a
My name is Nigger Destroyer, and I'm gonna lead to acrimony and arrogant honor.
I see entailment
Okay,
as a
you're-
necessarily depending on another thing.
What necessarily depending on another thing?
Yeah, that's my understanding of entailment. Perhaps it is unsophisticated.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if we're thinking of it the same way. Maybe
I'm not a logic guru like you.
I'm just saying that like when we hold them in a conceptual analysis, there's no entailment between the two concepts. So like when we're talking about these things ontologically, there's no like we can't establish ontological identity.
You can't
So there's
establish
no causal
ontological
relationship
identity
between one and
anyway.
the other?
Well, no, I said that works well with two-way causation. That doesn't matter. Like I can grant that. That the argument works fine with that. Like that's not going to do anything.
So what you're saying is, even if there
What
is a
I-
direct connection between the brain waves as they manifest chemically in your brain and the thoughts that you are having, even if there is a connection, a cause and effect relation there, then they're still separate? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they're still ontologically distinct.
Why?
Oh my god. This is probably the seventh time I've had to repeat the same exact
Yeah, because
thing.
what
I
you're
just-
saying doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. It really
You're
does.
saying that it makes
don't understand.
sense, but you're not demonstrating that it makes sense.
What do
Was
I
it
need to demonstrate?
was it Descartes?
How about this?
was it
How about
Descartes
you repeat what I said, and we can see
I don't give
where
a
you're
fuck
having.
what you said, because what you
Oh,
said
so
doesn't
you
make
weren't
any
listening
sense.
the
I
7
was
times
listening,
I said
and
it.
it doesn't make any sense.
Okay, then what doesn't make sense? Repeat what I said and what doesn't make sense.
Why are they separate when we have demonstrations that they are related?
Because we can't show entailment between the two when we hold them in a
We can't
conceptual analysis.
yet, but we do have strong indications that they
No,
are
not. No, I'm
entailed.
saying. Oh my. I just don't think you're equipped to have this conversation.
I don't think you're equipped to understand how the brain works.
Yeah, you're right. Go ahead. Have fun.
There was the zombie problem. How is that remedied? Or if you replace somebody physically, is their consciousness the same? If you reproduce the machinery of the brain, are they the?
You mean like
are
the
they a zombie?
teleporter problem?
I read it was zombie.
It might be zombie, but by what you described just then, I felt like you were describing the Star Trek teleporter when it teleports somebody and it completely reassembles their
Ship of Theseus or something like that. What is it?
right, yeah, ship of Theseus.
Theseus.
And Amy, you aren't coming through on the Discord if you're trying to.
Well, it's one of the big issues. If soul and consciousness is physical, or even worse, it's material. So it.
Aha!
Yes.
Okay, now it's coming
The
through.
seat of the soul.
That's stupid.
What is
Strictly.
There you are.
But when you deal with the brain as strictly physical, then you fall into the trap that all sorts of traps. And I believe that this is the philosophy. Well,
what traps do you fall into?
Well, it's traps in a sense that it's going to end in World War III. But let me explain that first. So this is so I think it was it Chalmers in 1996 that really worked on this materialist thing. The philosophy was there before the MRI studies started to observe the brain as the machine that it is.
That's what I wanted to ask him. I was this close to asking him.
Studies of addiction,
what the
they
hell
saw
is he talking about?
that the brain lit up like a Christmas tree, not in the frontal lobe. So what you're operating with in the mind, in the brain of an addict, is the old part of the brain that we have in common with rats, and they call it the rat brain. So you're not using your chooser. You're not using.
If I may just interrupt, we have a lot in common with
have to
rats.
do with-
They are mammalian. They are altruistic. They show feelings.
Can we just get back on topic?
Yeah, but we have a more developed. We have the ability for to perceive time and cause and effect, and that's important in the mind of an addict,
I don't
right?
know about time and cause and effect. I think we're more introspective than rats. We think about metadata more. We think about what does it mean to even live a life. But they should be able to. If you cross a maze and you're able to find the cheese after getting buzzed, you're using time very effectively.
Yeah, so you think like the logical space
hold
of reason
on for a second.
exists in your brain? That's absurd.
Say
Like
that
you think,
again.
I'm saying you think like the logical space of reasons. You think like our ability to have like meta-conceptual frameworks. This all just exists in your skull.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
First,
Not only do I think that,
there's no
I would
evidence
say
otherwise.
there's no evidence for any other organ. There's no evidence for any other branch of life except for animals with brains that have this.
But you people cling to evidence
the
like
philosophical.
for you. Like evidence is underdetermined by conceptual content, which is ironically that's what we're trying to analyze. Is like how these mental things. Like what? Like evidence is just underdetermined. Like you
Yeah,
can't
Brandon
ever.
is just saying his brain is way too big for his skull to contain it. He needs a soul too.
No,
Right,
I'm
hold on a
saying
second.
is
Hold on.
That's
Let
just
me
an
run this
argument
through you guys. I
all
think
that is an argument from incredulity.
let me test this out on you guys, please. Let me test this.
You experience a realm with all of these qualities, a reality with all these qualities, and for you to say that just exists in your skull is absurd. It leads to absurdity.
From the perspective of the rat, he is the arbiter of reality. The rat is God. I got you.
Reality
Hey, Brandon,
without all
can I
the
get
quality-
super serial?
qualitative
It
experience?
is emotional appeal, but let me put this emotional appeal out, and so we can say what the board game is. All right. I have epilepsy, which means my consciousness will randomly go out if I don't take medication. And so when I go into the hospital, everyone seems to know exactly what we're talking about having consciousness, losing consciousness, being aware, the questions to ask if your consciousness has come back recently. And it never seems to matter to people that these have really physical forms until they have a physical problem. And then all of a sudden, do you think that when I was going through this that they should have tested my bladder? Do you think they should have tested my kidney?
No, the point is that I don't think that the mind is physical at all. And I also don't think that the physical has a direct interaction with the mental. I think it's the opposite. The relating property is the I, like the person. That's what I'm arguing.
But where is that I located? Is it just floating in?
Well, it's not just, it's a movement. It's going through like an entire process, not just located at in one place.
So do you think there is a chance that if you were going in and out of consciousness, you would want the doctor to examine your foot?
I don't see, that has nothing to do with the conversation.
Oh, it does.
Well,
you're saying it's the whole body, right? It's the whole bigger picture. We can't say it's the brain. It can't be up here.
No. You have to think of it more abstract. Like I'm saying, there is nothing physical. Our body, all of our organs, our mind, these are all just conceptual relations coming from the mental.
So my question for you then is, when there is somebody who experiences a brain injury in a very particular location, and so a certain aspect of their mind's functioning is impaired in some way due to that interaction with the brain, for example, a blunt object, then what is the relation there?
Yeah, it's a retrocausal feedback loop. So what it is that there's something in the future that's already happened in the mental that is causing what is happening currently in what we think is the physical, although it's not physical. So like what's happened in the future is
you're literally
carving what's
plugged into the
happening now.
matrix, and then when something affects you in the matrix, it then affects you back in the real world.
Not like that's some sort of way to think of it, but not really, but kind of, yeah. Like it's just retrocausal. Like what's happening, what's already happened in the future is like carving what's happening currently and what's happened in the past.
And what is your evidence of this? Because we seem to have a perfectly good
Evidence isn't going to
explanation
matter
with the
because science
physical
is meaningless
representation of the
artwork.
brain.
Yeah, evidence isn't
some
going to
kind of
matter. Science
supporting
is
reason.
meaningless artwork.
I love
useless.
Auspice. She's amazing.
It's parasitic on our mental.
You give us some kind of
composition.
supporting reason why we should accept this over some kind of physicalism?
Yeah, because science, if we think of it as a lexical taxonomy where it's comprised, each scientific paradigm is comprised of fundamental terms. These terms aren't shared. They don't have shared meaning across different scientific paradigms. And there's no way to talk about these fundamental terms like position, for example, in like a theory neutral way. We have no way to talk about them in a theory neutral way. And so if we can't talk about these terms in a theory neutral way, and these terms aren't really shared across scientific paradigms meaningfully, then we can infer that the paradigms themselves are meaning incommensurable with each other or don't share meaning across each movement of one paradigm to another. And so therefore we would
inference
say
is
that
entirely unwarranted
Wait, so
and
you're saying
unnecessary.
you're saying because there's noise in the signal, we should conclude something that's like not intuitive, or we don't have good inductive inferences pointing towards?
well, I don't see why we need inductive inference there. If, like the induction isn't going to matter. We're talking about abductive reasoning here because we're talking about the methodology and at what point the virtues come in, and just
but
making an
let's say
abductive.
we're just going by like the principle of indifference, right? Like I'm looking at a body and a brain, and we have this notion of like consciousness, and it seems like we can't find anything that's conscious that doesn't have a brain. And every time I come up and I experience something that's conscious, I see a brain. And it seems like if I damage parts of the brain, there's a consequence for the consciousness. So if we are going by the principle of difference, that we could either be physical or non-physical, we're going to have some inductive support that it's physical, right? So if you can't provide some support for the idea it's non-physical, then it seems like the scales should be tilted in favor of thinking that consciousness is physical. Unless you can provide some reason to think otherwise.
Well, the intuition is the issue there, because the intuition is going to entail a belief. That's like what I would say. And the intuition, like I just give a rebutting defeater for that, because it's going to be that it's a transcending negation that's moving inwardly. So it's trying to sublate that negative moment of reason, but in virtue of that transcending negation, it's going to act as a defeater because it's moving inwardly towards the nature of what's sublating within that process of the intuition and how it's allowing you to even make that inference in the first place.
So you're saying that there's some kind of critical flaw in an inductive inference, that since every brain that I've seen is physical, brains are like consciousness is physical, there's like some kind of like critical flaw in my reasoning process. Can you just like spell out what that flaw is for the people in the room that might not be able to dissect what you're saying?
Yeah, the flaw is that it's a negation that's moving inwardly, that's existential, purely existential, so it has no predicates to it. And that movement is retrocausal, and that's why you're trying to predicate about the movement implicitly when you try to make that inference, but you can never fully capture it because it's purely existential, and that is going to contain a being, like an objective universal within it that is like a being inside of the being experiencing its own
Jesus
nature.
H. Christ, the
And so
amount
it's
of
moving.
word
It's
salad.
almost like a parasitic.
Would anyone like
recursive
Italian?
negating
I have
process.
ranch.
Yeah, so
I
do you
can
think
make a
that, like,
Caesar
that
if anyone's
sentence
interested.
that you just formed, do you think that that's going to convince anyone in this room? Because it sounds
I
like
don't
what you're
think it
trying to
has
do is
to.
confuse everyone in the room.
Well, my goal isn't to convince anyone or confuse anyone.
So what's the point?
Just me talking about this is gonna aid the scheme that I'm talking about.
But is there
Ironically enough,
something-
because what did you say?
Is there something you think it sounded? You did use at one point the word transcendental or something close to it. Do you think there is something that transcends? Does consciousness transcend anything?
I think like when we use terminology like that, it's like low order reasoning in the sense that like our ordinary consciousness is negating what's really like the universality contained within
Do we have
each
a
negative
special
moment of reason.
consciousness?
So these sort of notions of transcendental conditions and stuff like that, or even like meta logics and like higher order logics, they're really just our ordinary consciousness negating like our supercentrous reason that we're trying to sublate. And when we do sublate it, we are able to like reflect on it in this supercentrous mode of being, where we can reason these things with no limit.
Just making a joke. Don't mind me. Not a supercentrist, just a regular kind. I think I broke him. I just see a physical consciousness. I don't see any ghosts in the machine. I think we have energy and matter, and those are the two options that we have. There are physical neurons made of matter that are sending signals that we have as conceptual thoughts made of energy. Doesn't that sound clean? I feel bad sometimes when I talk about consciousness.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Talk
Sorry.
Mumbo jumbo? Yes, we can.
The issue, I think, is that presumably generally how people characterize, for example, like sense data is some sort of like immediate content that's non-conceptual, that's somehow given to us non-inferentially. And so on your account, presumably like that's what, like sense data, for example, that's what it's going to be, right?
We get it through sensory experience. Consciousness is an emergent phenomena. It's a system of awareness. We could say when someone is fully conscious, we can say when someone is unconscious, and there seems to be a gradient in between. It seems to be a natural phenomena of the branch of life we call animals that just have rivals that we call plants and fungi.
No, I see what you're saying, but what I was getting at is that if like sense data is
I'll take that.
presumably some sort of like immediate content that's non-conceptual and is like given to us non-inferentially, like it's somehow just immediately given to us without any sort of inference or justification, which is what I think like your account of like a physicalist account of the mind is gonna imply, then I don't see how that's really like a tenable position, because there's no epistemic justification from it. It just follows That just follows from that there's no justification based on how it's defined analytically. Like sense data is just sort of like a non.
I would say I do have justification.
Just kick. Did you just kick them?
I don't. It sounded like
No, I
he
think
got.
he just dropped out.
Yeah, it sounded like he lost or DC.
Okay.
I think he logicked himself into oblivion. Oh my god.
I have a question. What is the channel? This is, I mean,
what
does
the what?
counter this channel?
Oh,
counter
so
apologetics. What does it mean?
sure, similar in the same vein of apologetics. Apologetics would be defending the faith. It's normally associated with Christianity. I guess you could say you could be an apologist for Judaism or Islam, but that's generally, you know, a rabbi and a Dawaist. But we are counter-apologists, or some of us here, and that is generally we do the opposite. We are trying to convince people that they should have doubt and they should have skepticism and ask good questions.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you for the answer.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, me personally, I'm fairly certain that Christianity, at least, is, you know, nice
Mormon.
stories.
That's interesting.
But if it's real, I don't know about that. But I still think that the masses need it, okay? Because otherwise, to a lot of people, this is the only thing, you know.
Can I make a plea to
you?
My plea to you is not that we need religion. We just need. I just realized I'm not in streamer mode. Which probably hears all the buzz. What we need is a replacement for all of the good things that religion actually does, which is tradition, sometimes building families and then communities. I'd say, and we need to offer an alternative to that. And I think we can in the secular community.
Well, I mean, look, the thing is, okay. This is why, you know, I can't really say publicly that, you know, I'm a non-believer, because the other side of non-believers is, I mean, they stand, you know, and they believe in the exact opposite things I do, you know.
Sure. Well, can I tell you what often happens is the fundamentalist of whatever, they confuse atheism for, I would say, leftists. They assume, you know, I am a liberal, I consider myself centrist, whatever, but I know conservatives that are admins of this counterpodic galaxy, like Xerxes. Xerxes is a conservative, and who the hell who does poo for positive? Damn it, I'm trying to remember. There are multiple. Pine Creek is another conservative atheist, and so what you identify as your values, I would say, do they come from your religion, or do they come from a political alignment that could be separated from religion?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
Okay. Indeed.
Okay, can you say again?
Sure.
Sorry.
I think most fundamentalists of their organized religion, they think that it's either family, tradition, and community, or it's atheism. Like, it is the things that conservatives like versus atheism. But atheism is not an ideology. It's a single claim on a single position. And so you can have everything you like about religion, everything that you want to get to the public, like tradition. To me, I'll give you an example of tradition, because sometimes it sounds so abstract. In our household, Friday night is movie night. And that is for 3. And sometimes if someone has a family member or whatever, we bring everyone in the household together. We go out, we go to the movies. And so No one says we have to, and yet we have consistently for, I've done it for almost 2 years now, and it's been going on. And so it is what humans do. It's these little things that just make life fun and worth living. And you can have it without any of the so much baggage that comes with religion.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess the problem is, I mean, I don't know where to find those people, okay? The only place I know where I can find them is the church. You know?
Well, can I ask it? What was that exact thing you said? What do you get out of the church?
Okay, so the way I see it, okay, this is good wife material. Second is the way they live their lives. You know, they expect everyone to have a family. They expect everyone to have a lot of kids, which I'm totally for. And, you know, stuff like that. And, you know, to be respectful, to be friendly, to care for others, things like this, you know, which I like. I really, really like. And this is the only place where I found this kind of people, you know.
Can I ask? Well, let me reframe what I was going to say. Let me rephrase it. You can have everything that you just said, including, I would say, many. I don't know how. I'm trying to rephrase this in a non-PC way. Like material. You can have family. You can be respectful, and you can care for others. You can have all of that without having religion. I know that you're saying that is where you have found it thus far. And I'm not even saying that you didn't and that you can't. What I'm saying is you can find it other places, and sometimes better because it doesn't come with the baggage.
Mm-hmm. The way I see it, right, is I mean, look, I tell, you know, I technically, if they would like ask me, do you believe? I would be like, sure, why not? It's so wonderful. I would talk with them for hours. And of course, I don't believe it. Of course, I don't live my life that way, you know. And if they would ask me, do you live your life this way? I would say no. I would be honest, but I never ask. That's the thing. But yeah, you know, like even if I would get a wife after you know, let's say a few months or something,
We all heard that, right?
I would, you know, make her aware that let's say the Bible, okay, it has many flaws. That would be the first thing, you know. The second thing would be the problems with this God, you know.
Absolutely.
And sure, you know, after some time they would probably argue with me and stuff.
What's
But
up
there
to
are some
freaking
things where I just my mind just clicked, and I'm pretty sure their mind will click then too.
Tsunami. So it sounded
But
like, can I hear this again? It sounds like you know, or don't believe, you're not convinced in at least the fundamentals, whatever you want to call it. You're not convinced in the mythology, but you just like all of the cultural aspects that came with it. Because it has family, being respectful, care for others.
yeah, of course. Now, I'm not gonna tell my kid, you know what, dude? You're evil, and if you don't do this and that, you're gonna get tortured forever and ever. No, of course not. Okay,
Good.
I'm never gonna tell him that. You know, I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe there are places where this kind of people are, which I haven't found yet. But yeah.
That is awesome. Like, not awesome that you haven't found any other way, but that you wouldn't tell your child that they would burn. I think that is one of the big things that atheists at least have a big thing about. And I would say that everything that you described about the things that you liked is all good characteristics, all things that we want out of our communities. And I'm just hoping that, it's just about maybe if you have a hobby that you're into, because it doesn't have to be atheism or lack of belief or whatever. It can be bowling. It can be whatever. If you had, like I said, family night and things like that. It's about just making traditions that keep the family and the community together.
Yeah, man. I mean, lady, I'm sorry. Well, the thing is, how should I put it? I don't know how old you are, but my generation is messed up, okay? So if the idea of, if let's say I would have some friends, okay, and if I ever tell them, if I ever bring up the idea, okay, you know
What's
what,
up,
guys?
Christ
Let's have
brings
like
the
a,
sword and Tina Jones.
friends night, okay? We just watch a movie. None of them are gonna show up. They're gonna look at me weird. They're gonna give me weird looks. They're gonna act weird. It's just messed up, you know. But like, you know, smoke some dope, okay? You know, I don't know, drink some stuff. Sure, they're gonna come.
Well, can
But you
I?
don't like, you know.
What I would say to that, and I understand, there are two different crowds then, in that there's always going to be people that if you bring the party, they're going to come. But what you have to do, and it may be harder, is that if you are into Marvel movies, if you are into whatever it is that you do for that type of night, you just got to find the right people. Got to find people who actually want to be friends for, you know, just you. Which, I mean, I feel like that's hard every generation. If I'm being honest, I could smile in the back of my head because I know that every generation eventually says that the new generation sucks. And so I just try and I giggle because I think I understand why that happens though, and why you can actually find, because I didn't get deep into these subjects way until my later 20s and really now into my 30s and probably even way later. My joke is actually I'm old enough now to know I'm young, and by the time I'm done making this joke, I'm eventually going to be older. George Carlin says saying older is way better than being old. So yeah, I guess that's my long spiel on just that, is that there is an alternative to the toxicity of religion. I agree that it may be, you know, if people don't want to show up for just video games and they're just being there because they, you know, they want, there's nothing wrong with smoking weed or social drinking. But yeah, find the people that actually are your community, actually are your family.
Yeah, I feel real lucky there.
I remember watching Sam Harris years ago, and he asked the question, what happens if they can cure murderous psychopathy or whatever it's called? You know, the moment they can do that, then that particular type, the concept of evil to that particular behavior, where you don't need evil to describe something, and evil is efficient. You can identify it, and you can behave quickly to protect people from something evil. Evil can also be misused, of course. You can just brand something evil, and you know, you're essentially inspiring the mob to dispense with something that you don't like, or you know, use the word evil against your enemies or whatever. But it's an interesting concept, because if the brain is a machine and you dispense with the concept of evil, you dispense with the concept of right and wrong, and good is merely maximization of dopamine. And everything is oriented around the individual. So you combine the individual with the materialistic mindset related to consciousness. You're radically transforming the old concepts, the people that say that, quickly and say, well, these are outdated concepts. Well, you've got to replace them, because the whether you like it or not, the societies have used clumsy designs. I'll call them clumsy, but they're only clumsy when you look deeply into it. And you use that laser focus of science, and you start to identify, well, these people don't have to lose, because these models from one ethnic group to the next, this interface between culture and philosophy, and this battle between philosophy and the theological underpinnings, this soup that throughout the world each just have their own sort of soup. It is forged in the fires of evolution, in that there is a going concern. This soup, these mixtures of values and ethics and morals, and some of them supernaturally based, or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's functional. It has utility.
They are? Right.
And this and when you have this 25-year-old verified 25-year-old scientific philosophy that has an IQ threshold for people. I mean, you have faith in a technocracy. The problem is with a Gnostic style worldview is that the Luddites are going to smash the machines. The philosophical underpinnings of climate change, animal rights activism, the concept that hate speech is assault, meaning it physically injures the brain. Well, you could look at that through the studies of PTSD and addiction. You can see what happens to the brain. We can map it now. We have MRI machines. Well, we didn't have those 40 years ago. You only had the philosophy of physicalism and materialism related to consciousness. You had the philosophy then, but now we have the evidence.
Tell if that was
and
pro
also
or against
combined,
hate
it's
speech.
also transgenderism. So the individual, their mind is the fundamental arbiter of reality, and we can see the mind as a machine. It's not that unique. And machines can be they can be sabotaged. They can be broken. It leads you to say somebody who's sitting in front of a court who just carjacked somebody. You can look into the history of that person and know that their brain was physically injured by being raised for the first 13 years of their life, surrounded by unfathomable hyperviolence every single second of every single day. And you can look at that and conceptually say, well, their brain is physically damaged, right? So we therefore we can't have a single standard for punishment of their behavior. That's another aspect of this philosophy that underpins this basket of beliefs that the Fox News crowd or whatever and Christians reject. Christians have another model of the world that doesn't need science. But do you deny the science? This is one of this
think he's a
this
skeptic?
materialistic. The brain is a machine, and we can see it on MRIs. This and the philosophy that came before that. This is as big as heliocentrism, as far as for Europeans. This is a big deal. Christians don't know how to deal with this. But push that to the side. Society doesn't know how to deal with this because the latest U.S. Supreme Court nominee less than a year ago, she was asked, "What is a woman?" And her response was, "I don't know. I can't answer that. I'm not a biologist." Well, she is a person that should know the definition of words, but the meaning of words is subject to as a part of that underpinning philosophy.
Well,
so here's the problem. if you
Guess I
put a
got my
minimum
clear-
IQ of
my clear
130 on anybody who can understand the system
What's up,
that you want to
Arcadia
build,
fans?
people aren't going to do that, and they're going to smash the machines.
Sure, that was the
That's
proper
challenge.
answer that a politician should give. That's what they should give more often. It's like when we ask creationists, do you think that a man can give, I don't know, birth if a woman can come from a man? And, all of a sudden they're like, well, I'm not a biologist. And so they seem to not really care about biology. In fact, generally speaking, it is almost all a projection. The people, the fundamentalists, they're after women and children. They've always been after women and children. They target them specifically. They view them as chattel, easily controlled, manipulated, indoctrinated. And, it's always listening to the priest who says, give me the boy, I'll give you the man. And so if you want to know what they're trying to do, look at the narratives that they push forward. It is why they care about drag shows in some bougie San Francisco, whatever the hell district. They don't really care about feeding kids. They don't really care about the Catholics or the Muslims when they pass around children like candy at Halloween. It's generally, to use the word, it's virtue signaling. And, it's going away.
It's going concerns, thousands of year old religions, wherever they are in the world, inculcate the young with a system of social norms that are in coherence with the theological underpinnings and the social norms and the political norms and the political philosophy, economic philosophy. How do we behave from these philosophies? And the behaviors, the social norms. These things you inculcate the young, so that the young repeat the values so that you survive. Now, this is before intermodal transportation networks and MRI machines. So the problem is that, yes, they do go after the young because, and there will be winners and losers. That's why I earlier said it was clumsy.
For sure.
It was clumsy in that it's not perfect.
If you will see my claims,
it draws lines in the sand for behavior.
But I jokingly, playfully
forms.
will point out that I say that we've secularized Judaism. We're in the process of secularizing Christianity, and we got Islam on deck.
The problem is that the theology falls apart. Particularly with Christianity. I won't speak to Judaism, but it starts to eat itself. It's no longer coherent. You have to take clear scripture in the New Testament, and a sentence as clear as 2 + 2 = 4, and then you have to overlay some something above that to say that's not what they really meant. What they meant is 4 + 10 = 28. I mean, it starts to break.
Sure.
So if it breaks, then what do you replace it with? Because even the model of the brain is a machine.
Sure.
The problem is the attributes of the theological God concept of omnipotence and omnipresence. AI can't do that because AI doesn't have a time machine.
Yeah.
You have regression analysis. You can project into the future. And you think you're going to be right. One of the great fears is that they'll start forcing. The only way to project into the future and to be right is through totalitarianism to make the projection correct. I mean, this is like 1984 Orwell stuff. This is the 5-year plan model, which with the proper application of force,
Who's
you can
doing
achieve
1984?
anything. Huh?
Who is doing the 1984ing? It's one of my favorite books.
Well, the idea that the stubborn fact of the Aristotelian and Thomas Aquinas Christian God concept is that the conceptual standard of God is so high, and they've figured out a way, and I'm included, that they figured out a way that it's that a God is necessary for existence. It's not the same question as God exists. I'm just coming to deism, basically.
Okay, well, that is, first of all, I have many fantastic skeptic deists out there, but it sounds like a contingency argument, and I have the opposite proposition. So they believe that God is necessary for us to even exist. I believe, because it is the God is a concept from our minds, and it originated from agents that walk on this planet, I believe that God is contingent on humans.
Well, the concept of perfection outside of human capacity, you can perceive that, but you know that mankind's not going to achieve it. So it's another form of tyranny. Christianity is another form of 5-year plan, 1984 Orwellian tyranny. It produces it. I'm trying to.
But I agree. They seem to want a theocracy, and so it always annoys me when the people who claim to want freedom of speech push for systems of government. Weirdly enough, they want to protect you from government, but then they push for these autocratic, theocratic systems that just want to control you.
Well, I don't think freedom of speech. I don't think Christians 500 years ago would have clamored for freedom of speech.
Oh, probably not.
So I mean, I think freedom of speech is a liberal value, or in an enlightenment project.
Sure.
And there are a lot of Christians now that believe the scripture is just allegories and metaphors and valuable wisdom, but they look at it anthropologically, and they've overlaid models to explain the Bible and essentially to reduce its supernatural claims. They look at they're anthropological Christians essentially.
Sure, and I have the Thomas Jefferson Bible behind me, probably the only good
Yeah.
version.
So the same kind of people that would look at the people that look at the Constitution as a living document, they also look at the Bible as a living document. Well, there are problems there, because eventually you can interpret your way into incoherence.
The Jeffersonian Bible.
And then you just have basically the label of a Christian institution, and Christian. You're not really Christian anymore.
Sure,
technically.
no true Scotsman.
Well, I mean, if you deny that, if you say that 2 + 2 = 4, that statement equals 10 + 6 = 28, then you're, and then you just look at everybody else, and when they tell you that you're incorrect, you tell them leave the building. I mean, that's no longer a Christian institution. It's as simple as that.
Oh, I just thought you meant like non-Trinitarian, Trinitarian, because that's all just a canon battle.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think of theology as like an operating system. It's like it's an operating system for society.
Not to go back to a subject.
You can only randomly delete device libraries inside of the Windows operating system until it just breaks.
I think a mind is like an operating system, coincidentally enough, not to just go back to another subject. But yes, continue on back to it. I think that there are maybe certain tenets that you could say are foundational of Christianity, and that would be a God and Jesus.
The God concept is outside of space and time. It's inherently multi-generational, and that's one of the critiques that I have for the atheistic, materialistic, scientific, ultimately technocratic group that have stemmed all of this basket of beliefs, which is coherence. See, this is the thing. You know, transgender people aren't mentally ill gays. They are not suffering from mental illness. They have a coherent philosophy that underpins their worldview.
Well, can I tell
Same thing for animal rights activists, climate change people, and the people that believe that hate speech is literally a physical injury to the brain, which is a case that can be made.
Well, and we get people who come in all the time offended that they're like, that's blasphemy, which is basically, and is there something about Christianity, though it sounds like you actually aren't sold on that either, so I don't know if I should I shouldn't hold you
Well,
to that.
if I call myself a Christian, then I got to sit here and defend it for 25 minutes. I've only been a Christian for 5 months, and I came to Christianity not through pathos. I came through logic.
Hey,
and
I thought I heard you in a previous conversation say that it was only emotional.
No, that's the way they taught me in the Methodist Church. I think the injection of psychology, which is another form of materialism, they look at the brain as an organ, not as a machine. They looked at it as an organ, and it can malfunction. And using a form of statistics and science and narrative, they created competing narratives.
This hate speech thing is so weird.
That eventually eroded.
It's like, and the people bringing up hate speech, which is a good point that we should maybe make.
You know, the Bible is like natural, like a wolf's instinct to kill is natural.
Yeah,
it doesn't require machines. It can operate outside of the scientific world.
When you say you
can't,
I
wasn't trying to.
What do you mean?
Can I clarify real quick? I wasn't trying to do a gotcha. I had jumped in a previous conversation and heard that little sound bite. That's why I asked, because I wasn't trying to like do anything like malicious. Just for reference.
I was talking about.
It's
you know, there's an archetypal statue of, you know, there's a famous painting of Napoleon up on a horse, and the horse is up on two legs, and he's got the reins, and he's looking at the viewer of the painting, and he's calm as a Hindu cow. Everybody's seen this picture over the years, and you see that repeated over and over and over again in sculpture and paintings all throughout a lot of European history. And what that and the model is, it's logos, rationality using the reins, which are ethos, and pathos is the horse, and combined they are far more powerful than they are individually. But there's a direct line of supremacy, and it starts from rationality and it goes to emotion, and we've looked at emotion, you know, a lot over the last 100 years. I mean, the psychologists involved in marketing and advertising are totally involved in this. You know, using our emotional instincts to sell their products and stuff like that. So we've, you know, in well-being, like Sam Harris says, it's the minimization of emotional harm. That's what we're all trying to we're all trying to be happy. Which, you know, that's happiness is good, but you know, if we have to start to tell ourselves lies in order to be happy, and that's my experience in the Methodist Church. They told lies about Scripture. They're lies because they took clear Scripture and then they said it didn't mean that. And I read it. You know, this is a sola scriptura project, the Protestant Reformation. I read it and I'm like, well, it didn't say that. And they're like, well, you're just wrong. You're too young. You'll understand in time. Well, you know, here I am 30 years later, and they were bullshitting me. They were wrong. Just simple as that. If it says it, why? If it's clear Scripture, why should I use unclear Scripture to interpret clear Scripture? You know, why confuse what's already simple? Why manufacture context when the context is clear? And it was clear 1,000 years ago. It was clear when it was clear to the apostles or whoever wrote the scriptures. So anyway, so here's the problem. This operating system, you can't just randomly delete device libraries and expect the thing to continue. And that's what everybody's fearful, because it's major changes. That's why people that's why people that don't have words will just say fuck you heretic, or fuck you commie, or fuck you whatever. They just say fuck you, and they're going to smash the machines, and it's going to end up in ruin. I don't want anybody to get hurt.
Talking about what are you talking about exactly? Can you be specific?
Go gently.
Oh, I do. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Too easy.
Go gently. Because if you get frustrated and start making big claims, then, there's a chance that they'll just shut the door, they'll smash the machines, and they will go full Luddite. But here's the problem. Heliocentrism, they couldn't, what are they going to do? What are they going to hang everybody? They're going to burn everybody as a heretic for saying that the earth revolves around the sun? I mean, the cat's out of the fucking bag. And the cat's out of the bag with this scientific atheism.
Wait, speaking of claims, you said you came to God through logic?
Yeah.
Can you unpack that a little bit for us?
Want to put out there,
the
earth does revolve around
Aristotle, St. Thomas Aquinas, 5 ways that brought me to deism. And then the supernatural claims in the New Testament. I looked at the biggest one, and I found that they have testimonial evidence for the resurrection of Jesus. It doesn't meet the standards of modernity because nobody has a time machine and an MRI machine and a FBI forensics team to go back in time to verify it. But we use testimony as evidence in courtrooms every single day, and we have for thousands of years. And I accepted that. Now that's a lower threshold that an atheist would accept, but that's good enough for me.
Testimony is the least valuable form of evidence in court. So
well, tell that to the judge. Tell that to the 10,000 court cases that were adjudicated. I don't know. Let's say 2,000 court cases were adjudicated in the state of North Carolina yesterday. Tell that to the people that won or lost.
Sure. If there's a court case where eyewitness testimony conflicts with something like DNA evidence, which one is generally considered to be stronger?
I told you that it doesn't meet the threshold of somebody in possession of a time machine.
But can I also?
It's not. I already told you that it's not the highest threshold. If you want to debate about thresholds of evidence, then have that.
The Bible is worse than that.
That's not the overarching point.
And there's no
I shouldn't have told you that I was a Christian.
Testimony is evidence.
Huh? Yeah, testimony is evidence, whether you like it or not. Okay, that form of evidence is poor evidence, and it can be corrupted, and people can lie. Sure, whatever. Still evidence, whether you like it or not.
See, I almost don't want to push you. I have questions for you, but now I realize you said you're like, I don't want to defend Christianity for 25 minutes, and you almost said you were a deist, and so I don't want to. I said I had to deal with the God at a conceptual level. And St. Thomas Aquinas was good enough for me. So you now are a Christian.
Yeah.
Christian. Okay. Well,
there were other attributes of Christianity over the last 4 years that I've talked about it and learned about it, including joining a physical Bible study 4 years ago.
Hey, and
I told the people I was a Christian, and they were like, "Fine, sit here and read the Bible with us."
And I think the Bible is one of the best ways to create atheists. I know Christians will probably hate that saying, but it sounds so Fedori, but it's so true. I'm on episode 80, I think, of my Bible study. Which is kind of crazy.
So the key for me was St. Thomas Aquinas and the Aristotelian stuff that he did. If God is necessary for existence because of like some unmoved mover stuff, and I lost my notes, I lost the file, so I can't defend this right now. But
Don't make the cosmological
all right,
argument.
look, if you don't believe me, I don't give a shit. All right, just let me finish the sentence. All right, God is dead, and you're jacking off in the mirror to fucking anime. Okay, that's fine. Push it to the side.
I will not put my
Sorry, don't tell me what you
if there was a beginning to the universe and the universe is
My
not always
porn
existed,
is over 9,000.
then something had to bring it into existence, and that's something Aristotle recognized. Now, if you deny that
But it's
logical
all
force,
Vegeta
that's
making
fine.
out with Goku.
Go
Just
have that
endless
debate with
files.
somebody who cares about it. But it's not outrageous to believe that the universe had a beginning.
Is anything more complex than God? And if he doesn't require a creator, then why do we fix that conundrum?
Well, okay, you got me, pal. All right, but here's the deal: if the universe had a beginning, then that necessitates a creator, and if that creator cannot be subject to the laws of nature and the laws of physics, therefore miracles must be possible to this creator. And in the case of the Christians and the Jews, they claim that this creator communicated directly with human beings, and it was encoded in scripture. And that was the second layer of studying the scripture, because I read the supernatural claims just like I read Lord of the Rings.
But
Lord of the Rings doesn't make any sense unless you believe there was one ring to rule them all. Well, that's a supernatural claim. The story doesn't make any sense. So I just accepted the supernatural claims, and then I read further.
But wait,
and it was reading further, then I realized that
you will grant us that, right?
This literature could not be created by Shakespeare, Hemingway, and Homer. If they got together in a committee, they couldn't create this. There's something really incredible about the scripture.
Interrupt for a second?
It's
you will
philosophy.
grant me that the Lord
Nobody
of the
can tell you
Rings
that your philosophy is
fake,
wrong.
right? You will grant me that's a fiction. So when you grant that Sauron is looking for the One Ring, that is a fiction.
Right.
Okay.
But it's necessary for the story to make sense.
Sure. Just like I could grant that in the story, Jesus came back from the dead. I just don't think he actually did so in the real world.
Okay.
I agree. It says,
if you're actually studying,
Well, for atheists, it wouldn't matter if he came back or not. He still wouldn't be God. It wouldn't matter. None of that would matter.
Come back from the dead. Maybe you're right, man. Maybe
can
you're right.
I ask, I have a text right in front of me, and it says that there were 13 people that have listened to me closely, have went to death after being prosecuted and being discriminated against. And then I have 501 people who have witnessed me coming back from the dead. Would you take me over Jesus?
Well, it's a combination of things. So, 501 people can tell a lie. They do it every single day on Wall Street.
500 people can tell a lie.
And they do it every day in Congress. Whatever.
Sure.
Pick your bad guys. So collusion and lies are one thing. But here's the problem. You still have to deal with the words. Are the words nonsensical? Well, they're not.
Well, there's a problem. There's a problem with the words of that fact that they were written far before after he was dead.
I've
so
seen bank robbery movies.
It doesn't matter.
No, they weren't. That's a lie.
I'll give you an example. Homer's. Homer's or not Homer. Plato's Symposium. The story about where all these different types of people. You got a comic writer. You're sitting next to a mayor, and he's sitting next to a tragedy writer, and sitting next to a philosopher, and they all have dinner, and they pick a topic, and then they talk about it. The Symposium was written 100 years after the dinner, or maybe not 100. No, it was 30 years or something. Either 30 or it was like 30 years later they wrote it. Does that change the value of Plato's Symposium because it was written 30 years later?
Well, yeah, we can derive lessons.
And that's all I have.
If you want to talk about facts, there's literally zero evidence that Jesus existed.
I don't care about facts. I care about the utility of metaphysics. That's what I care about.
That is a scary sentence.
Simple.
But
if you
care
just care
about
about the utility of it, then it doesn't sound like you got your way to God through pure logic. It sounds like you're more or less just adopting a narrative that makes you feel psychologically secure. Those are two very different claims.
Oh, is this emotion? Why,
Oh my
why do you think I had an emotional thing here? Psychologically secure? What are you talking about? I have no
They're
choice.
trying to psychoanalyze you right now. This is what you.
Yeah, I know. And
no matter what you say, they're trying to psychoanalyze you and then get you to admit that what you believe is irrational.
He doesn't
When it's
sound
not,
crazy.
what they believe is irrational. What they believe doesn't have evidence. They're just employing presuppositions that they hold near and dear to their heart as good atheists, right? Good little
Sure.
atheists.
Can you give
And that's
one
what
of
they're doing.
those? Can you give one of those presuppositions?
Yeah, don't make this atheism versus theism or whatever. But it doesn't matter, because I recognize that some of the atheists, they have no choice but to believe this. They believe the brain is a machine.
And to be honest, I just like that he gives answers. That is all I care about. There's people who give honest answers. Don't try and obfuscate. We may not know things, and I'm not trying to ask gotchas. And so it sounds like he's just trying to give what he actually believes. I really can't ask more from an interlocutor.
Right, okay, well, the thing that unites us all is that we want to live forever and we're terrified of dying. That's the basis.
No, that doesn't unite us. That's just bullshit.
It is.
Nobody. No. I've met atheists who don't believe that. Again.
There is. We want to live forever, and we're trying to convince ourselves we will do.
Well, I know national socialists that believe that there's a going concern metaphysic through biology or through lineage. That's how they achieve. It's all about multi-generational. How do you achieve multi-generational coherence where your society doesn't blow up? You know what I mean?
I'm a transhumanist. I believe science and technology will make me live forever, not any religion.
A troll is someone who's trying to get
you
a
might be right about that, but I hope you might be wrong.
A Poe is someone who rides that line.
Roll your fucking dice. Everybody who's ever died in my family was hoping for a cure in 6 months.
You don't really have a choice because science works. Religion doesn't.
Science does work.
Well, tell that to the last 150,000 years or however long we've been around with the cognitive capacity to ask questions that are not easily answered. I mean, come on, man.
I know. I mean, I imagine all the time 100,000 years.
Just really quickly, a troll is someone who's trying to get a rise out of you. A Poe is someone that rides that line. You can't tell if a Poe, it's their true beliefs or they just actually believe that. Also, speaking of Poes, we had 2 people. I don't think this episode's going to get monetization, though. We love you, YouTube TOS gods, if you do so. So if you want to send in super chats, I will do super duper lots of fun props and all sorts of love, and I'll read and all that stuff. And we're going back in about another hour, I think, and then I'll do my own outros and. Yeah, another fantastic impromptu debate.
Just say that the brain isn't
one more thing, if you don't mind, you don't have to, but liking, following, and then subscribing with that all button icon, and even sharing, it helps. All right, enough shilling. Let's get in.
Without the acknowledgement of truth, and the truth is. You can drill a hole in somebody's brain and stick an ice pick in there and jumble it around, and the next thing you know, they're blind. So we know these things.
There's no problem with us being like machines. Like, I mean, in the idea that
they're fighting each other.
The experience, really, it's not even an idea. The experience that we feel our instincts in our stomach,
long?
Right? Butterflies, etc.
Yeah,
it's very real.
I mean, you're using.
Well, the trouble comes in is to the people that believe that the brain is a machine and they believe that they can perfect the machine.
No, the problem is the connotation of the word machine, because it takes away your idea of free will. That's
the problem. And I don't blame people that the atheistic scientific types. I don't blame them for believing in Dawkins. I don't blame them for believing that free will doesn't exist and that the soul doesn't exist. I don't blame them because it's coherent.
You're misusing the word of belief.
Beams.
Yeah, they know it for a fact, beyond a shadow of doubt, absolutely beyond their own minds.
Again, you're misrepresenting what science is. Both of you are misrepresenting the aspect of what
then the
science is
fact that
for.
led them to the conclusion. Strike the word belief, and then I believe. Well, shit. You're fucking. You're like niggling over details. I have no choice. I have no choice as a result of St. Thomas Aquinas to believe that that a creator was necessary for existence. I have no choice. I am forever changed because of that. Now, I took it a step further and investigated Christianity in good faith for 4 years. And that included getting my ass kicked hundreds of times by smart people. And they were smart Christians, and they used to be in this server all over the place, but they've long since gone. And I got my ass kicked.
I think you should look into determinism and super determinism as well, because maybe that will help you along a little bit.
I don't need it anymore.
I don't mean to.
Does he
presume
not
your
sound
ignorance,
like
but
Greg Props?
try
I've been
at least.
thinking, where does he sound like? He sounds like
this
Greg
is sad.
It's not a bad thing.
I can't
Just who I
go
think
back.
of.
So I've taken the leap, and there are some other attributes of the last 4 years that I'm just going to go ahead and say that, even as an operating system, I can't find faults in it outside of the inherent faults of every system. Anytime if you've ever been in charge of something, at work, you've ever had a team, or somebody gives you, you can't be perfect. You can't reduce expenses to zero, and you can't work perfectly efficiently and be perfectly effective. You cannot maximize productivity. There's always waste. There's always error built into the system. There are always winners and there are losers.
Are you combining capitalism with Christianity?
No, I'm applying a zero-sum game to theological constructs as they moderate system.
So sending a whole bunch of love, a $2 super chat from the Freak. Boom, boom, boom. Shout, Peter and James W. Amy gets too much attention. It's true. Okay? Listen, we need to funnel the attention. I'm sitting here like this. I can't help it. But we do. We need to give Peter, we need to give James W. their love and attention. They are amazing. Thank you so very much to Freak for all the love and support. Happy to have you with us. And I also giving one extra prop because it's just cool and I like samurai swords. Yes. So thank you so much. And we're jumping right back in. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Some thou and shout at me, and I'm like, dude, I don't speak. What is this Shakespeare? They don't speak English.
Sending love, Shandy.
But the problem is that I didn't understand them because I never read the damn
Can you
book.
not talk about Kim
And that was the
Jong-un?
key. You read the book, and suddenly you can communicate with Christians. Huh?
I mean, don't bring up Kim Jong-un. Do you know this guy has got so many death threats on me right now? Okay.
I just used Christopher Hitchens hitch slap.
And as a member of Mossad, there are many people after me.
Oh my
Man,
god!
if you're a member of Mossad, you're after a lot of people. You got that backwards, motherfucker.
And the first rule of Mossad Club is never to admit you're a Mossad Club. So I already messed up.
Really?
Oh my god!
You don't happen to have the ability to scuba dive, do you?
Working on it.
He's got an ability to steal my settlements in the West Bank. That's what he's got.
Oh my! And see, I was trying to steal your heart. But sending love.
I don't blame people for being atheist, but so I came another vector of Christianity for me.
Why would you blame someone for being an atheist in the first place?
Well, there are a lot of people that do. A lot of people that blame people for being Christians. So whatever.
Yeah,
so
I know. No, I know, and I've ate them all.
here's another vector because of politics. I had to study the theological underpinnings of my ethnicity because I'm an ethno-nationalist, which makes me a bad, evil person, right? But if I was to take that seriously, here I am with no knowledge of the theological underpinnings which shaped the society that I for some reason want to preserve. And I realized I was horribly ignorant about the religion of my father and my father's father, because I was adopting an ethnic solution to the world's problems. I wanted to usher in.
I highly disagree with everything he just said.
What
Highly.
ethnicity are you exactly?
Well, I'm a cultural schizophrenic. I'm half English and half German. So that means that I had to decide whether I would follow in my father's.
Oh, yes.
Can I just clear up two things? Because I want to do the non-emotional reason. First of all, I'm going to say this, and I always get called soy. Can I sell you on civic nationalism, even though I'm not one?
I found that civic nationalism was the experiments of the Enlightenment had gotten to the point to where, using Descartes, they're just seeking GDP maximization. They're ultimately materialist in an economic sense. All they care about is, well, yeah, but look at the beautiful new kitchen that you just bought. That should fill the God-sized hole in your heart. And materialism was just empty, and it was ridiculous. Global systems of homogeneity. There's a word for it: global homogenization. Some of the guys that probably don't share your politics, they use the globo homo. They're not talking about homosexual. Some of them think they are.
No. I will say we love saying global homo on the podcast because we always say we are the reporters or the spreaders of global homo. We want LGBTQ rights to spread all over the world. I always say that if you're looking for the globalist that's pushing race mixing, she is right here. But I know that. But I would just want to ask, because I'm politically incorrect and I'm against canceling anyone and all that. I like to think that I have a capybara kind of vibe is what I want to give, is just accepting everybody unless they try and eat me, I guess. But I want to vibe with everybody. And so just pushing back on that, because I get that some people, to me, race is not important at all. It's actually a weird kind of concept where my race changes depending on a person's political views, which is a weird phenomena. But are you just trying to appreciate whatever your heritage is? And then I want to add this asterisk on. You're not judging other ethnicities. You're not trying to put out that.
Well,
I don't know you, so I'm just asking.
Right, so one of the things that I've observed is that when I talk about ethnicity, people think I'm talking about race.
Well, I always say race doesn't exist, but ethnicity does. There's thousands of ethnicities, so it'd be silly for us to spread ourselves into 1,000 different boxes. I think you can appreciate your heritage and your culture and your ancestors without shitting on other people and trying to think that they're. I'm not saying you are. I'm not saying you are either.
Another thing that I've observed is that when I talk about ethno-nationalism, people assume that means that's white supremacy. So to advocate for your own group's behalf does not mean that somebody has to lose.
Sure. Well, that is why I'm taking this one step at a time, is to say, just so you are saying that. That's what it's saying. It almost sounds like you're agreeing with me in that statement then. You like whatever it is you are. I'm not saying you can go on there and
I not merely like it. I think it's necessary, going back to what I was talking about 10 minutes ago about it's an operating system that is multi-generational and has been forged through the fires of evolution.
Yeah,
and it works.
You just admitted that you're English or German, which means you're pretty much an immigrant yourself. And you can't accept that.
But that's fine.
Well, yeah, I am. I'm an immigrant from the north, to where my bi-ethnic parents came to another place in the southeastern United States, and I don't know anything about this. I still don't feel fucking comfortable here, and I was born here 50 years ago. I still don't. I still can't communicate with the fucking people of North Carolina because I don't know who the hell they are. Because,
North Carolina. Wait,
I still don't. Yeah, so,
E50, seriously.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Oh, dude. Wow, you sound quite young to me.
Well, because I'm a Gen Xer and because I adopted the fucking internet, and I also came in a wave of people, and which is multi-generational, this wave of people that started using their idle time listening to podcasts, and the podcasts inspired you so greatly, and then you started reading. So there was this concept that the printing press was to the Enlightenment what
Sokolux, that's funny to me for whatever reason.
there's a new enlightenment because of YouTube and podcasts and the internet. I mean, you can research things quickly and easily,
like
where
he's
before you had to go to a fucking library, bro. It was a pain in the ass back in the old days.
Did you hear anything?
So I'm part of
the
that
adage.
herd.
Yeah.
And that's why the adage of the internet is the place that religion comes to die.
I've still got some graffiti in my library when I was 15. I drew a picture of Vegeta from Dragon Ball. It's still there. Such a badass I am. I still
Now
go
we're
there.
talking about the real subjects that matter. Hey, they just released the Dragon Ball Z movie. They're still making money off it.
Hey, if you're not into Dragon Ball, you're not my race.
So global homogenization, that's what I've been taught it is. And it's the reason why 25 years ago you talk to Europeans and they take shits on you if you're an American because they hate McDonald's, and they hate the CIA. Global national homogenization occurred in the United States to where, it's this, we're all just replaceable cogs in a faceless machine. We're no longer humans. We're credit scores. We're just, we're wages. We're just, we don't have souls anymore. And the people in charge. Here's the thing with nationalism or ethno-nationalism.
But like
it's
1,000,
redundant,
2,000
opinion,
years, that was
whatever.
when we
I'll
were
use it.
Really.
If it was an English country, if the United States was founded on ethnicity, it would still be the same ethnicity. If it was founded on Christianity, it would still be Christian. It wasn't founded. It was founded on economic philosophy, specifically property rights. And then they cobbled together social and political philosophy to support the economic. And I just think it's empty. I don't want any more I want a snowmobile. It doesn't snow here. I find myself thinking about snowmobile.
Let me tell you why we hate Americans, okay? It's because there's so much McDonald's and KFC here, but there's no fucking Popeyes, and that's why we hate you.
A true travesty. Popeyes does have good chicken. I understand.
Well, you'll eat your KFC and you'll like it.
No, any form of fried chicken I'm gonna eat generally because anything fried I'll probably eat. Unfortunately.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I went to business school and I learned about supply chain efficiencies, intermodal transportation networks, container ships, going on to container trains, going on to container trucks. And this incredible productivity that
I'm
allowed
hungry. Just gonna put that out there.
These Walmarts that popped up in these tiny little mountain Appalachian towns, to where before they had to just like make chairs out of logs and shit. And now they can go to Walmart and buy the plastic chairs for $6 a piece, right? And it's a great leap in material conditions. But the bargain for exchange is that
the hardest part
the Walmart
is
was the only store in town, and
to
everybody
pick
else
out
went out of business. So,
phrases.
well, the good news is that you had an incredible array of low cost goods. The bad news is that the only job in town was Walmart, and something happens.
So why are Canadians much better than Americans? That's what I don't understand.
We have free healthcare.
Well,
yeah, that's right. That's right.
In America, they're just more liberal us. But yeah, they're Canadians, I guess.
Also, America doesn't have a left party, so.
Canadians up until very recently retained their Anglo roots, and they have rapidly transitioned demographically over the last 20 years.
Thank you, Clut. We're probably
to
going
catch
do
up
this for
to the
another 30
diversity
minutes.
levels of the United States, but they remained Anglo-centric for a lot longer than the United States.
Like, I understand.
So one of the there was okay. Let me get into it. There was a court case a couple of years ago against Amazon, and during the discovery process,
I just want to say really quickly, I understand wanting to be patriotic. I'm not a big fan of burning flags. I don't like burning books or any of this stuff that I think can be really edgy. It's okay to love where you came from and all that stuff. I almost feel like a bootlicker the longer I go on saying this. It's that really weird ultra form, which is what I consider nationalism to be. And so, yeah.
with all its race fucking issues, and gave me no guidance because they were ignorant as hell. So, I just went to school every day and got my ass kicked by multiple groups of people that just fucking hated each other. And I didn't know what the hell to do about it. Still don't know what to do about it. Outside of this one fact, I'm tired of getting my ass kicked.
Okay. Well,
that's
as long as you don't buy a gun, then that's okay.
Well, I mean,
And I missed the very beginning of that. Were you physically getting your ass kicked?
Yeah.
Oh.
Why? Are you like short or something?
No. You just get a beat down with some folding chairs if you go to a mixed race school in the southeastern United States. It just happens once a year.
Well,
you get beat up by five people.
I am sorry that you were picked on and bullied and assaulted, and
it's not bullied because everybody got the same thing. Bullies will target somebody for particular reasons. This was just randomized mob violence. Everybody got it. I was talking to my sister the other day. She told me a story about how she got it.
Punched in the nose or something, or what? God, I hate being punched in the nose. It really pisses me off.
And I learned self-defense because I am afraid of not only myself but the people I care about being hurt. And so I take jiu-jitsu, I do yoga. One day I'd like to take a striking course. I think it's important to learn.
Well, this is despite the Enlightenment project. Despite the Enlightenment projects, it's a beautiful concept. Liberalism is beautiful if everybody's on board with it. In a world full of individuals, and the meritocratic force. Look, if you take 1,000 whites and find the best person in that to be a surgeon, well, open it up to 10,000 people, including everybody else. The larger the pool of applicants, the greater you put talent to use. You know what I mean?
This guy is like a Family Guy joke. Like
Adam
it almost
Smith's
like he starts
Invisible
out
Hand is
something
beautiful.
very racist, and
But,
then it like comes.
the concept of the individuals don't survive when guys like Genghis Khan decide to act collectively. They get smashed.
I really am trying.
So that's part of the reason why. The thing is about the Enlightenment project is that how many people died in Europe from the Protestant Reformation?
I don't know.
After the Renaissance through the Protestant Reformation, how many people died so that liberalism actually could survive?
I was having like a 6-hour debate about Anne Boleyn the other day, and it got pretty heated, because of Henry VIII and all that crap. And then I realized, damn, what are you?
The whether you like it or not, the Enlightenment is a European project, and Enlightenment principles work.
Let's see how it gets around. Hold on.
They don't easily work without European Christians. That's the fact. Because why would somebody how could somebody adopt in the same way that I couldn't adopt being white in the South? I still don't know what the hell these people are talking about.
And Enlightenment, I would say, more has to do with deistic values. It was the Puritans that eventually would become the majority of this country, but it seems to be actually walking away from the Abrahamic religion that allowed.
European Enlightenment began with Muslims in the 10th and 11th century. I mean, they established the basis of stuff.
And their enlightenment came from invading other countries, and their enlightenment came from the Greeks. So, shall we keep going backwards to say that their enlightenment came from someone else? But it's usually because
there were a lot of people. There were a lot of smart people in the East Mediterranean.
Yeah, I know, but literally the Enlightenment. I mean, it has a direct link to the Middle East.
Which has a direct link to the invasion of Egypt, which has a direct link to the invasion of Greece. So, shall we keep going back?
Samaria and the cuneiforms and the origin of writing. So, I guess we're all Mesopotamians now. So, but yeah, okay, that's fine. The Enlightenment, in my mind, was a departure, obviously, from the Roman Catholics. And the Puritans in particular were they could read, they could afford a Bible, they could read the words themselves. They realized they needed no pope, and then very quickly they realized they needed no king. And here we are.
I know. Did you?
Here we are with an oligarchy. Here we are with an oligarchy that came from democracy. That's just as bad as 200 AD Rome.
I think the Puritans are trying to make their last go at it because they realize that they are soon going to be in the minority.
I don't see them doing that at all, because in my investigation I don't see that at all. They've accepted their fate, and they're universalists.
I feel like that was a weird way of agreeing me at the end there.
Do you know what? I think we should all be Amish because they're so happy.
They've accepted it.
90% of Europeans are just well-bred farm animals. When they're told to conquer the earth, they conquer the earth, and when they're told to commit suicide, they do that duty just as efficiently. So I'm not a big fan of normies. These fucking people do what they're told, man. But maybe it's like that throughout the entire earth. I only know Europeans. That's it. I can read their fucking minds. Why? Because I'm a European. Because I was raised by ethnically. I can read their minds.
You just sound like you're ashamed to be American. Be honest.
Well, you sound like you like black dick. I mean, what's the purpose of that statement?
There we go, ladies and gentlemen.
You tell me to leave. Just tell me to leave, and I'll do it.
No, definitely not. I love you.
See, I can play moral blackmail games.
You're a racist, dude.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm an ethno-nationalist, and it doesn't mean anybody has to lose, but you cannot have a world full of where the only people that perceive themselves as individuals are Europeans, because everybody else is acting collectively, because ethnic collectivism is about the oldest political orientation and the oldest game of power, and these other people didn't give up on the game. Why would they?
So you've made the statement before that...
Bro, I live in Europe. Literally, you have got no idea what you're talking about.
You made the statement before that everything there can never be a zero-sum game. There can never be an approach for perfection. But now you're saying that there's no losers in in your ideology. So isn't that speaking from both sides of your mouth?
Where was the zero-sum game?
That's not the only thing in there.
Was I talking about the globe Earth?
No, you basically made the statement that there are no losers, so therefore there has to be an aspect of there could be no winners. But now you're actually presenting that there are winners, and therefore
winners and losers are inherent in the game
of Thrones.
So therefore, your ideology is inherently racist.
Yeah, the people that fell to Genghis Khan were losers.
So hard. What about it?
The people that fell to the Roman Empire were losers. In my opinion, the people that fall to global capitalism are losing. They're becoming replaceable cogs in a faceless global machine, just like Americans are. Americans that just shuffle. They go to Shark Mart with shit in their pants, buying shit that they don't need, just for what? It's gross.
I do like Carlin's quote that says there's Americans spend a lot of money spending a lot of money they don't have on shit they don't need. So like I'm sympathetic to that, I guess. Yeah. So I want to ask just one question about that in particular, what you were talking about. You like your heritage or your ancestors, your culture, whatever you want to say. Can you also have an appreciation for, I mean, it's more than just Americans that do this. So I even feel kind of weird, but the mentality in America that we are this melting pot and that there actually is a benefit from learning about each other's cultures, sharing them.
Well, I don't believe that we were a melting pot until Emma Lazarus stapled that poem to the base of the Statue of Liberty. This doesn't go back to the melting pot concept. Doesn't go back to the Federalist Papers. I mean, this is essentially the United States and China have something in common in the 19th century. The Chinese, there's 100 ethnicities over there, but there's only one dominant one, and that's the Han. And the Anglosphere, Canada included, Canada and the United States were dominated by the Anglos. And Canada was dominated by the Anglos until, in my estimation, 20 years ago. The United States, however, did not put ethnicity first, and they put economic principle first, which allows you to get rich. But in the process, now generations later, now people are rationalizing putting their grandmothers in containment zones called retirement villages so that they can go fly to Aspen and go skiing, because they don't want to change their grandmother's shit diapers like we've been doing for 150,000 years.
There's two types of materialism. There is materialism as in, oh man, all I care about is buying new games and new cars and new clothing. But then there's materialism as just accepting the material world, as in like physics, biology, and chemistry. And so I guess I just want to suss those two things out because I care way more about the latter than the former.
Yeah, I've used materialism. I've used two different definitions in the last 30 minutes.
And I feel like I understand which one you're criticizing. I guess I just want to put and emphasize it because I think that's the materialism we should care for. If I may be so bold, I would say that we ought to care about. It's sometimes good to have, go out and just enjoy yourself and have a good time. But I don't think your life should be dedicated to trying to get the latest. You said a ski boat, trying to think as much as I like ski boats.
I'm thinking. I think those two definitions start to fuse when the worldview doesn't have a multi-generational aspect to it. It's ultimately individualistic. So you're not thinking multi-generationally, and you're not thinking theologically. Christians believe that all of time and space. So they're not merely thinking about 100 years from now. They're thinking about the end of the universe and the beginning of the universe.
Okay. Can I make some input? When I think about my heritage personally, I think about like several 100,000 years of human evolution. It's far older than anything you have. And think about it. If you take pride in our ancestors who have literally gone through hell just to make sure we exist, that's the greatest story. That's the greatest story ever told.
Yeah, but you go back 100,000 years where you can't speak that language. So it's sort of like a moving average. There's like we have history. A lot of in the West they used to teach that
History of the world part
Americans
1 and
know
part
more
2.
about ancient Greek or ancient Egypt than they do about Ukraine. I think that's one of the issues. I don't want to shift to Ukraine, but I think it's fascinating. These fucking people don't know anything about
And
Ukraine.
Marina.
If anything north of Constantinople, you might as well
And
just put on the map,
KCA.
there be dragons. And there was specifically why, and this is even in Britain, they're like this, but certainly in the United States, the reason is because they didn't want us to study about the Soviet Union because they were our enemy. And if we learned about their history, then we would humanize them, and they wanted us ready to go to war. There be dragons. Another thing is the split between the Roman Catholic Church and the Orthodox. And there be dragons. And it's interesting that roughly the Warsaw Pact countries, the Iron Curtain that divided the East and the West during the Cold War, is roughly equivalent to the border
Ukraine.
between Eastern Orthodox
I wanna
and
ask him about
Catholic
young
and
and
Protestant
old
countries. I think that's fucking fascinating. I also think it's fascinating if you take a look at the map of the Celtic Church, which started in like 100 AD. So Christians had gone to Ireland. You actually see the Celtic maps from 300 AD and the modern political maps of Wales, Scotland, and Ireland, and where is England? They're the same lines. I think that's fascinating.
Can I actually ask you, just speaking of fellow Christians, and this may be a dividing point, but that's why it interests me. How old do you think the age of the Earth is?
I have no idea.
3.8 billion years old.
Yeah, I have no idea. And I'm one of these guys. I don't care if the sun revolves around the earth or the earth revolves around the sun. You want to know why? Because I'm not building satellites anytime soon. So it's irrelevant.
It's interesting you said that. You bring up heliocentrism a few times. I do have to now prod. Do you believe that the sun revolves around the earth?
I mean, that's what I was taught. So, I mean, it makes sense to me.
What? Yeah, of course it looks like it, but it doesn't.
You were taught that that we are actually the planets and the sun is revolving around the earth?
No, that the solar system is as it is.
Oh, okay. You're just accepting them. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I mean, those people. When you're young and you're driving in a car and you look at the ground and it looks like the ground is moving so fast. It's not because the ground is moving. It's because you're moving.
Yeah. So one of the challenges that the church had to recognize. I mean, you can make the argument that consciousness in the universe is only found here. Therefore, because we haven't met any other conscious life. You're going to have to bring in like statistics and like Goldilocks zones and a bunch of other scientific concepts, and then come up with the size of a galaxy that everybody can agree on to statistically say that there's probably life somewhere else. But at the end of the day, we're the only conscious life, and we're the only, and this is it. So we are the center of the universe, according to human life.
Yeah, I mean, it's impossible to say because we only have a sample of one right now. So there's literally.
Well, on a long enough time horizon, maybe something will happen. But as it stands right now, we are the center of the universe.
Well, so is everywhere else, though.
Well, we're the people that we can conceive of the universe. So
that is true. We're the only branch of life that we know of, animals.
Yeah, I know. But if we examine the conditions required for life in every metric, for example, near the sun with liquid water, there's literally an infinite amount of Earths out there, and so, but we just cannot perceive it because time functions differently if you travel that long.
Well, I mean, you start to think about heat
I lost
death,
my chair.
and then the wind comes out of my sails when I start thinking like that. You know what I mean? There's no reason to wake up in the fucking morning, except for what? Dopamine maximization by going to Shartmart and buying shit I don't need.
Well, there's also things you can do, just family, community, tradition, things we were talking about earlier, that yes, it is about going dopamine if you want to look at it at a chemical level, but I do find them much more enriching than buying the new TV, instead just watching the TV I have with my family.
Yeah, I mean that's another form of what do you mean? I
When I want to be happy, I watch South Park with my siblings.
There you go.
That's when I'm happy.
Sounds like a good time. Matt and Trey are amazing.
Best time ever, yeah.
I will say in 15 minutes, guys, I gotta start to head out, but it's been a lot of fun. I'll keep on coming back.
I still hate it when my big sister says I'm definitely Cartman. I'm freaking not. Okay.
My partner says she relates the most with Cartman. She's like, he's the good guy. I don't get it. I'm like, yeah, right, exactly. She's just teasing me.
Just as long as we don't know a Scott and a pony. I was wondering if that guy would ever arrive on a point.
Well, the weirdest thing for me about some of his points or whatever you had was like, sounded like he was saying something horrible, and then he tried to come back and like put a bow on it to make it not sound horrible. And then there were some things that, let's just say, from my point of view, it's just, but whatever, there are some theists that came in used to come in way spicier, and just like, twice I've had the people that just come in and like, and it's just so funny because like in their name, it's like, I love Jesus and Jesus loves you. And it's just shouting curse words. I'm like, okay.
Hey, the gay should love Jesus, because who else would want a man that gets nailed for 3 days and come back for more?
That's right. Well, I have my, I think it's Tom Rabbit's transgender argument for Jesus. It's because, there was a genderless God for all of eternity. And then 2,000 years ago, he became a man, decided I want to be a guy. And so, I respect Jesus. It's nice to have a trans man on the LGBTQ team. And I'm sure Christians are in support of this notion. Lovely to have them on board. How you doing, Beamsy and everybody? Still hanging? Didn't get a response. How are you doing, chat? Hope you're doing all lovely.
Same old, making sourdough.
There we go. Sourdough actually sounds good. I love Beamsy.
It tastes even better.
There's a joke in there somewhere. What's up, Converse?
Yo, what's going on?
Not too much. Been having fun for the past few hours.
Nice, glad to hear it. Hope everybody's doing well. Just trying to cook a little dinner here.
Ooh, see, that's true. Okay, so it's almost 7 p.m. here. That's why everyone's cooking dinner. Now I understand. Though, Beamsy, you're far away. What time is it for you?
10 a.m.
Hey, sounds like dinner for me. Sense and love, Skyworks, and everybody pulled a ribbon trance. That's right. So it seems. big topic in the UK are God's gender. They try and changed it officially. That's funny. Sends in love, Tina. Been over a few different subjects. Went over consciousness. We went over a little bit of Christianity, and then I guess race, ethnicity.
Oh, really? Yeah. A while
Right,
back,
food
I heard
making.
you. You had a conversation with Danny on consciousness, and I don't think you guys knew that he was an atheist. So like, because he's kind of like a dualist. That was pretty interesting to kind of hear the back and forth there.
Is Danny
Have
still a
you-
dualist?
Sorry?
Is Danny still a dualist?
Yeah, he's still a dualist. Yeah, as far as I know.
I mean, hey, the only
think,
one position that we all can agree on is that we don't believe in a God, but anything after that.
Well, I don't know. I think that I don't know if he takes it to like specifically anymore, or if he like has a variation on it. But he used to accept like Bill Gromy's view. So that's like, as far as I remember, that's who he's closest aligned with.
I see him do lots of philosophy conversations. I always think he's good because I think the best use of philosophy is counter-apologetics.
Mm-hmm.
Not biased.
Yeah, I think there's probably better uses of philosophy. But, yeah. Yeah, but I tend to agree a lot of times with atheists on some things in regards to philosophy. But I don't know. It depends on who you talk to, I guess, because some apologists just it like doesn't faze them to hear that there might be some type of philosophical issue with some of their beliefs. So I guess it depends on who you're speaking with.
Absolutely. I think some Christians are not used to defending their faith. I think that they get a little bit insulted when you even try and press for it. And then there's others that, you know, this is their game as much as the counter-apologists. They want to get into the mud with us and talk theology. And that's interesting. I'm not a dualist. I mean, I'm open-minded, I guess.
Yep, basically agree. But yeah, so you really got to figure out who you're talking with first.
Absolutely. And
because sometimes I'll talk to other Christians, I'll say, well, you're going to have this problem. And they'll be like, that just sounds like a philosophy thing. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, yeah, I don't care about that. Like, okay, well, I do, so I'm not going to accept your view, I guess.
that just sounds like they are blocking the line of questioning out of their mind. It's like saying the Euphophro dilemma. That just sounds like philosophy. Well, yeah, but it's about whether a God makes something moral or something is just moral and God says so.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if you know Johnny Haas.
Thank
but,
you, freak. Sending love.
If you get on Clubhouse, I know you guys probably don't get on Clubhouse too much.
So my introduction through Clubhouse is from people like Tom Rabbit and Godless Girl and a few others.
Yeah, that's basically the people that I hang up with on there,
there you
all
go.
the time. Jack Angstrike.
That's who I Jack.
Tom Rabbit,
Another great. I need to go on there.
Yeah, I guess for like the past year, we've all been had like these rooms on there for like every single day, pretty much. Although I've been like slacking getting on there for like the last couple of months because it just gets repetitive.
That's funny,
you know?
Tsunami.
Oh, so smart, huh? Oh, you got it all figured out then, huh? There ain't no God.
That's funny.
Hi, Quantum. Yes, I'm not convinced there is a God.
You sick son of a bitch. You're wrong about that. Let me tell you about God. Without God, you'd be nothing. You'd be living in a van down by the river.
That's what my mother tells me.
Well, she taught you right. You should have listened.
It's either a van by the river or God.
Two options. You choose.
Two options.
Coin
Exactly.
toss.
Coin toss.
Coin flip.
Or both.
Do
Yeah,
it
or
now.
both. You can have both.
Well, you could.
That's not real.
If you wanted that, I suppose you could pray for it.
Guy,
I'm
I'm this close to losing my chair as well.
I
This
suppose.
chair. Like, look, you can see.
I always
I'm
try to bring
sitting.
it to this, right? Because everybody's like, God, no God. It's really like we all agree that there's this thing called good,
Sneaks
and
up,
we just
pushes me
differ
out.
about what the origin of that is. So, from my perspective, it's good to focus on what is good as opposed to what is bad. And because we're never going to agree on the terminology, nobody's going to say you can't get an atheist to agree they believe on God, but you could believe them, get them to agree that they like ham sandwiches, for instance.
It's true.
Or that they
We're
like
making
it when
progress.
their office is clean. I mean, these kinds of things. So maybe just to focus on what those things are is going to be the beginning. What do you think?
I feel like we're really making progress now.
We're making headway. We've been for a while. These are the choppy waters, but we're getting somewhere. So just discard the terminology and then agree. And also, it's this, right? Nobody wants a society that's ruled by a bunch of psychos, right? I think we could all get behind that. So, unfortunately, that's the current condition of things.
Yeah, he let
so
his.
if we don't want
his
that, we all
accent
kind of have to
slip for a
agree
half second.
that that is an inferior condition. So it's going to be up to us as a body populace to agree to that and then to implement policies in a world where that's not the case. But that means that we all have to change, right? So all the squabbling over is God real, is God not real, it's kind of superfluous because the real question is, have you changed at a heart level? Are you actually a good person? Do you have love in your heart? Do you have care? Do you have concern? Do you think that life matters or does it not? Because those are the things that are going to inform your behavior.
I mean, I agree with that. I don't think it matters. I think religion comes with a lot of baggage, but the number one thing is, are you a decent, good human being?
Right. And that's really what we
He
should
was
be
trolling,
focused on
and
first.
now he's like,
And
I feel like he's
because
like, shit.
we're putting that last, we're putting it as the bookend. And we're saying, no, what we want to squabble about first is what's the thing that you subscribe to? What's the thing that you say that you believe? Well, really, in the end of it, it doesn't really matter what anybody says that they believe. It really doesn't matter because it's all just words. So how do they conduct themselves? I've met some atheists whom I greatly love and I appreciate and I think are giving and kind. I would consider them to be godly people. I've also met people who call themselves theists who are just complete pieces of utter garbage. And I think we all kind of know people like that. So, these narratives and these boxes that we like to put ourselves in, they don't usually
and I was like, don't say anything.
stack up to
It was
reality.
just you. Okay. I mean, sure. I mean, they're trying to remember the Better Call Saul clip, but he's met good robbers and bad priests. He's met decent thieves and horrible cops, and so you
Right.
don't have.
Yeah. It's when we assume that there's some moral standard tied to the ego status or the rank and file title or etc. That's where we get into bad
Tsunami.
territory. That's where we're lying to ourselves essentially because none of that is the case. So individual assessments should really return. And also, I guess what comes out of what you just said is that there's a lot of just corruption in society, like just generally. And that needs to be acknowledged,
Sure. In fact, I actually have to go. So I want to leave on a time where we agree. I think that we actually have corruption that we should be tackling. I think there are institutions that we need to actually not only go after, but reform completely. Or
Correct.
else they're going to keep on doing the same thing. And so
Exactly.
on that agreement, I love you all. Oh, Jack, you came in. What's up, Jack? Sending love to all of you, though. Bo, Chrome, Converse, E. Jackson, EK, Jack, Kudos, Lion, Loving Salt, Quantum, and Balaj.
Hey, Andy, good to see you again.
Sending love.
Alrighty. Alrighty.
Oh, they like that because they think that is my dead name, or they think it was. Did she actually leave? Baby Buttercup. So funny. She full body tackles the male cat, which I guess if you're a male cat, you should be like, this is the greatest thing ever. But he looks so surprised sometimes because she's like this big. And it must be weird to just have a thing consistently attacking you like, But yes, that was a lot of fun. I feel bad because Jack is lovely, and he is another ally that probably would have had another amazing conversation with. Converse is actually a mensch. He's a good guy to have conversations with. But I think we have tuckered out subjects for today on this episode of Impromptu Debate You. And so I'm going to wrap up with you guys. I'm going to send links out of just shilling and stuff mostly. But that is You're also going to hear I updated the credits, but it doesn't have the music yet. And so you are going to get the Shoopa-doopa, a Shoopa-doopa-da-whoopa. It's lovely. It's hitting all of the markets this year. So it's going platinum, I'm hoping. But if you are a channel member, a Twitch subscriber, or a Patreon, depending on the tier, you get all of this time where I'll help you produce a show. Go like this. So show off Penelope while I do this. Boo, 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 shoopity woo. It's worth it, ladies and gentlemen. She's that cute. There we go. Come on. The internet needs more cats. We offer Talk Skeptic to you. Talk Skeptic to me and James W., where you can share your knowledge and expertise with the audience, and the two schmucks, James W. and myself, will ask questions and listen and learn. Send in love, Jordan. Boom, boom, boom. What is up, Flum? And also, if you would like your own podcast, if you want to have something produced, have an entire team, if you would like Jewish Space Lizards to help you launch, promote, or monetize, then you can go to Fiverr and I'll help you out and I will produce you. I've been producing people lately. It's been a lot of fun. I've been working both solo and teams. We now have 2 kits. Oh, baby girls, so many. This one is Spider Cat. Spider Cat. Spider Cat does whatever a spider cat does. Watch her jump. Yes, she does. What's she doing? What's she doing? Oh, that's right. I have a little toy hanging out. It's hard to see. Oh, my. I can't really show them enough. Can't help it. But yes, producing. Right. Exactly. So I have some people. My favorite thing is I get people who will tell me that the food in the cat ball, this is very specifically kitten food. The kitten food is brown for whatever reason. There's like rainbow brown colored cat food when you're older. But they now take this as evidence. You see that? That Toxoplasmosa has gotten in. It's all over. Isn't that right, baby girl? That's right. She's eating the Taxoplomosa right there. You see it? Eat that Taxoplomosa. I can't even say it. It's all about the worms in your butt, ladies and gentlemen, that make these gentlemen like the D. Bum, bum, bum. I got 2 cats, or should I say they've got me. That's right. The joke is always dogs look up to you and cats look down at you. I got Cooper laying back there. He's being such a good boy, too. Big old German Shepherd. And the funny thing is he thinks he's this big. In fact, he sleeps, we have like a double cat bed that he doesn't fit in, but it's soft. And so he makes himself fit in it, the dog. And then we have her, Buttercup, who thinks she's this big. And she will steal the dog's bed at night. She will go into the massive bed and she will sit down and she'll be like, this fits me. And the dog will be like, oh my fucking God. It's a women-run household. And so she does it. Oh my lordy. But they're adorable. Yes. Do. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Impromptu Debate You, where the topics will be listed in the title only after the episode is done, because we went in to have some fun at the Politics and Religion Discord server at the Counter Apologetics channel, along with any other subject that came up. Theology, science, how long is the girl deck, for an impromptu good time. You should all be checking out James W's debate against Jamie at the Standing for Truth channel. Sending love to SFT, send love to Donnie. And then we had an after show on it. There's going to be a lot more clips. Gizmo and myself are working together. We are doing all sorts of clips and shorts, and eat my shorts, man. That was a terrible Bart Simpson, but it's in the interwebs now, so there it is. I want to thank my co-host, James W. We are I was going to say the curly, I can't even think of them, but there's 3 of them. And so I guess Gizmo would be the third. As my brain draws blanks. Greetings and say, what is up, Titan Uranus? Sending love to Titan, who, with all of the creationists and theists, we have actually had to pay him double of what we have been paying him. And I just want you to know, Titan, we're thinking about paying you triple. So I just want to thank Titan, who really is amazing, our head admin, and we have so many amazing mods out there. And I want to thank the panel that we had, all the people that were talking in there. I feel like there should be an asterisk at a certain point that should be like, the views of the panel do not necessarily reflect, but that's actually kind of what the name of the channel is. We basically review views that disagree with ours, so that kind of comes with the territory. You try and make common ground, however. Boo. Of course, not only our mods and the admins and all of the panel and everyone, but lovely viewers like you. You are the lifeblood. This is the community that I've been trying to... one of the things I just have in my mind that I want to get... You're going to hear the type of... One of the alternatives. Worth it. Hang in there. The price of a successful attack is a constructive alternative. I consistently think about how we can get people out of, in my opinion, our cults. That is what I believe the vast majority of the common religions now. It didn't have to be that way, but like they are religions with leaders and dead leaders that think they are being commanded from after the dead. Dead leaders from being commanded from after the dead. Yes, profits. Profits make profits, though. That's the only thing I can say. Speaking of which, thank you to all the super chatters. I don't think this is going to be monetized. I got to learn how to have like fast mutes for all that. We've survived porn bombs, but you know, it's worth it though, just to have someone saying something terrible with like the name like Jesus loves you. Like, yeah, this is a follower of Jesus, and they are a racist degenerate. What a billboard. What a billboard. No love like Christian hate. But I know for all the Christians out there that actually do love, I don't want to throw you in with them. I'm just saying those are not good billboards for your religion. Let's just put it nicely. Yeah, if you enjoy the show, the channel, everything we're doing here, if you want to help us get into the algorithms, you hit that like button. It really does work. There's actually no bad publicity on YouTube. Technically hitting the negative, even though they took it away, actually does help, which is always silly. It's an ego problem, by the way. If you've ever seen someone hide their likes, technically speaking, the downvotes are making them more popular in the algorithm, but they don't want you to know that. They're like, I'd rather I not be popular. But we hope you do like the show, because we want to keep on doing more fantastic content. I think this is cathartic to James and I. Like, this has been the best project I think we've done. I'm sure I'll give James W. his family. We allow our kids and our family. Where's my cats? There they are. Those are, but our true loves as well are you guys out there, you guys and gals. You are our family. You're basically our extended family. That is, once again, I consistently try and reflect on these views. And community to me is an extended family. The people that you have chosen to be around. Because I probably don't live with a lot of you, but I think that we choose to be in each other's ears, to talk to each other, to make these conversations. Successful attack makes an alternative. Or hey! Oh, and also you can subscribe. We are trying to get to 10,000. There's multiple different benchmarks. We're on our climb to the 10K. And it's because of you guys. Each individual person we cannot thank more. So thank you one more time. We're going to try to thank you, though, more. And so thank you. And you can set that bell icon to all. And when you do, it allows you to see reminders to join our premieres and see our live streams, like all the lovely people that are still with us. Skyworks and Spooky and Doorknob Head and Titan and Zokalox and Tsunami and DeFreak and Khaleesi and Secular Pagan Mom. And if I missed you, say your name and I'll show you up at the very end. Flum and Jordan. And I love you all. Boo. Yeah, that's how you. But if you're seeing this afterwards, then you can also leave a comment when the video's done, or a super thanks, which is like a super chat, but a commented way of supporting the show. After the show, speaking of which, the Skeptic and Ranting Discord server opens up, the link of which is in the description below. And you can also join our channel membership. That is housing our lovely members in the description with our evolving badge system, if I could speak, which just naturally evolves as time goes on. We have different tiers that offer multiple different perks. However, it doesn't matter what tier you are, the badges just seem to evolve. Isn't that crazy? Time we worship it, not really. You can also, if you support 2 out of the 3 of our supporter tiers, you become commander and lieutenant of our girl deck. Very big and expanding, infinite in size, which will give you the top priority of our listing of shout outs. And the best way to actually support the show and to get us all these more props and more content, we're about to, I think, summon the Lord of Props himself, Carrot Top. And so all of that really gets done by going to patreon.com/Amy Newman and unlocking yourself unique perks while you become a supporter. I am Amy Newman. And woohoo! Khaleesi with the $5. And because of that, I'm going to now dance. My partner always laughs when I go like Thank you so very much, Khaleesi. Woohoo! It was a lovely episode. Truly, the last episode, the theists were scared. We just had it was like we took over the house. There was so much of there that it was a very gentle, skeptic-minded conversation. Just somewhere in between, we found a good mix. We got a little bit spicy. We had some atheists in there, some theists fought with theists, which is always a fun thing to watch. At that point, we just eat popcorn, and we're like, no, you guys figure that out and come to us. And yeah, thank you really so very much, Khaleesi, with the super chat. Super thanks. There are Patreons, channel members, or just our subscribers or viewers. I just want to thank you. What's up, Stephanie? Woohoo! Sending love. Stephanie has been on many fantastic shows all around as well. And I am trying to squeeze out. I think that's it. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. I really do want to thank you for this episode of Impromptu Debate You, Season 1, Episode 5. And we will see you all on the next episode of Skeptic Ball Z. Good night. Mwah. Ah ha 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 ha. Ah ha ha ha. Shoot doop 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 doop. Shoot doop 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 doop. Definitely the real music, you know. There are so many lovely people that help us. Shoot doop 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 doop. Shoot doop 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 doop. I should probably send the Discord into the chat. It's gonna be amazing. You're gonna love it. Here it goes. Shoop doop doop the doop 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 boop boop. We're definitely gonna be convinced of the Abrahamic God. It's gonna happen next episode. I believe it. Yeah, I love you all, and good night. There's the Skeptic Ranting Discord. Boop boobity shoobity woobity.